ukuringira kura yaku. Nkoroki no uturingire thimo kana utume SMS gukurukira namba izi 0720 888 000 kana 0734 444 725. Uringi bwa kura izi bukaingwa ntariki 1 Januari mwaka 2023 na muchindi kwewakewa ntariki 2 Januari mwaka 2023. Idhagathage nande kwigika sako yaku. Machindano jari gukinyira gukurukira wonjorithia bwa Meru TV, Meru Digital, Zeri FM, Solutions.
Things that may not have been meant by the governor. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, our two senators have done 14 minutes. So I want us to stick to clarifications. Maruma.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I will ask questions out of the 5 counts on 2 counts. Count number 1 on nepotism and illegal appointments. You have alleged that the governor made appointments without following due procedure, that is appointing through County Public Service Board. The questions that have been asked by my colleagues, you've answered them, so I'll not ask them. That is, have you cited appointment letters, contracts, have they signed contract letters? You said no. Have they earned? You've said no, or you're not aware if they have earned or not. But my question at that point would be, why do you think the mitigation of the attempt by the governor to break the law or to violate the law, the mitigation should be by way of removal of the governor by way of impeachment? Convince me as the member of the jury that that is the best way.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator. The Constitution has put forth a mechanism of stopping lawlessness, and I think the Supreme Court in the Sonko case pronounced itself as to what is impeachable and what is not. And it's up to the County Assembly and the Senate to see what is impeachable and not. The courts are tied to the process, whether the due process was followed and the fair administration of justice was done. If you look at the... Sorry? I have seen your consulting.
No, just go on.
Yeah, okay. So, so if you look at these particular charges that the governor has done and the multiplicity of them, there are 62. You don't know where to begin if you are to summon or when the lawlessness will end. When the governor starts doing roadside appointments, and you have seen she has done like, she did 3 of those roadside appointments. We don't know when next she will stop doing it. The vilification campaign, when will it stop? Because in one of those videos, she had started appointing, she had done the appointments in like 4 words, appointing the people who came runners-up number 2, assuming the president goes to your county and appoints the person who came number 2 to you as a senator, and they're saying, this senator does not like me in the Senate, I will empower this one so that I can keep him busy in his ward. So there are so many things that she was doing that are leading to a multiplicity of charges that is leading to gross abuse of office. And when the governor has done the gross abuse of office, the cure that the Constitution has created is removal from office. It is laughable that within a duration of 100 days, just 100 days, someone has done offenses of this magnitude that we have seen in those videos. What if you gave her 2 years?
Thank you.
We can come with a big volume here.
Thank you, thank you. Number 2 is on count number 4, on violation of PFMA or attempt by the governor to violate PFMA on waiver to patients. That was a roadside declaration. And then her edict that the revenue at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital...
It's Meru.
Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital. We have the funds collected, spent at source. Was the infraction complete? Was that money spent at source? Was the waiver to the patients effected at the MTRH?
Now, when the county executive gave the orders to the CEO to waive and release patients who are at the hospital because of bails, the that the first instance she's not supposed to give such orders. Even though the CEC was not in office at the time, they could have waited for CEC to come so that they do it. Just because the office holder who is supposed to gazette an appointment, for example, appointment to boards in the national government, the president directs the cabinet minister to be the one named as to have appointed those names, because he's the one held responsible for appointing them to board. So in this case, the directives themselves are very wrong, that you retain the money at all.
Affected?
They should have been affected by now.
No. Do you have evidence that they were affected? No or yes?
I don't have any evidence that they were affected.
Thank you.
But I expect they were.
Lastly, Chair, there seems to be differences in the county government, both arms, the executive and the assembly. Have you had an attempt to solve these differences through TDR or ADR? That is traditional dispute resolution mechanisms or alternate dispute resolution mechanisms up to now, and which are they? Yeah,
there have been various attempts, but I wouldn't want to treat this motion as a dispute between the governor, because we have placed charges against her on various grounds like abuse of office, gross misconduct, and breaking the constitution and national and county laws. So I don't know how you now be able to mediate so that somebody stops something that they're not supposed to do. That is one. Assuming that there were those disputes now, there are forums that were called.
There are several ways.
Yes.
Through forums now that we are about to mention. You can go through the church.
Yes.
You can go through elders. Have there been any attempt, for my records?
So there have been attempts to hear out what is going on in Meru by the Council of Governors. They convened a meeting at Windsor sometime in October. The House leadership attended and the governor. There were attempts. Then the governor herself, first of all, the assembly was the one seeking to have a sitting with her. I did a call myself. The speaker was doing calls. They went unanswered. The governor now started calling us when we started the process of impeachment. Oh, come, we sit down. Before, she was ignoring all of them and going to radio. She was on radio saying, these people want to keep me busy in hotels, drinking tea and mandazi. They don't want me to be at Mashinani working for the people, discussing irrelevant matters about their Catholicism. She was resistant against it. At one point, I called her myself and told...
You've made your point.
Yes.
You've made your point. Maruma, very good. Senator Tangwa.
Thank you very much, Chair. And unlike my colleague here, Sifuna, who is a wakili, Mheshimiwa, myself, I may not argue on the basis of the law, but I will ask you questions from the experience, owing to the fact I could have gone through the same process that you are going through now. So you have to convince this committee. For us, we have no emotions. It is facts and facts only. I would have wanted to ask you what a motion is, but you are second-time MCA. So I can ask you, other than this motion, have you brought to the Meru County Assembly any other motion of whatever nature since you are elected?
Yes, I've brought many motions to the County Assembly.
You can mention two or
yes.
One?
I've brought a motion seeking to revise, actually it went through to revise the finance laws that were guiding the county, that is in the previous County Assembly. I have brought a motion to the County Assembly seeking to lower the money that youth were being charged to have their businesses trained with the county. That is, young people are supposed to pay money so that their companies can be allowed to get tenders from the county.
Okay.
That is in the previous County Assembly, not this one.
I was talking about this one.
Oh, this one, this was my first motion.
So your first motion is to remove somebody from office. Is the motion passed at the Assembly or in the public?
The motion is passed in the Assembly.
In the Assembly?
Yes.
From the document I've seen,
yes,
I've seen members of the public supporting your motion in the purported public participation. So would you say the members are supporting the motion, or they were supposed to bring the memoranda of any kind in support of the removal of the governor, other than supporting whatever you have already drafted?
The members of the public are not bound to anything. That's why it's called public participation. Someone will wake up to their house, from their house, and come and say what they feel. You are not supposed to dictate to them what they should say. There is no textbook or any law that prescribes what the members of the public come to do or come to say, how they should say it. You give them the forum. They can even talk about matters that are not being discussed there, and give their memoranda and go.
But from the documents that you have, most letters are saying we are supporting the motion by Honorable DMK. So you are executing your motion to the public.
The advert that went to the newspapers is there is a motion in the assembly that you're supposed to react to. So it's not wrong for a member of the public to say, I am supporting that motion that is under this public participation because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. Maybe the reasons that I have given that they think this is not what government should be doing, or reasons that they themselves feel are not even part of this motion but are impeachable. So you cannot dictate to the members of the public what to say and what to write.
Chairman, I think it's good for this committee to note that that is tantamount to having a local referendum. This document that have been presented to us, which is true, is given by the County Government Act, Section 90, but need to be carried out by IEBC. Another question is, it was said here that the 67 MCAs cannot be wrong, right?
Yes?
They cannot be wrong. But you also know that mob justice is illegal?
I don't think MCAs are a mob. They are elected representatives of people.
To avoid being accused of calling them mob, that's why I'm asking for this kind of evidence. We have agreed here that other than the video evidence that you give here to this committee, video evidence, there is no other document purporting the hiring of those roadside declarations, the pay slips, letter of appointments. So we agree your evidence is only based on video evidence.
No, my evidence is there to support the post that the governor wrote doing some of the appointments via Facebook. Then there are the videos. There is the signed affidavit about the sourcing of the evidence that I brought to this very house. Then when, yes, there is also evidence from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that is supposed to enforce Chapter 6 of the Constitution. I don't think our CEO of the EACC that has been mandated by the Constitution to look at breaches of Chapter 6 can sit down and write something on EACC. So we also relied on that letter as evidence.
The letter that was talking about allegations. I'm a Catholic. Are you a Catholic?
Yes, I am.
And you know, we do have liturgical colors.
Yes, we do.
It is mentioned here that the issue of red, and I wish this issue was not here because I wouldn't want to discuss my church. But do you know red is a symbol of passion? It is only worn in church when we are celebrating martyrs. Those people who have been prosecuted without committing crime.
Yes.
So could you say that you misinterpreted the colors to mean something different?
The church was being prosecuted by the governor for committing no wrongs.
Okay. Finally, Mr. Chairman, we need to bring in the role of a speaker. Do you know the role of a speaker?
Yes.
From the assembly?
Yes.
He's supposed to be impartial.
Yes.
It has been mentioned here that he himself has been saying, or is quoted in media, saying that the governor must go.
Has that evidence been adduced here?
It was mentioned here on the meeting of 18th.
I can regard that as hearsay because I never saw any evidence of the speaker saying those words.
Okay. Do you know that a government entity with the right legal framework can collect money and spend at source? For example, the water companies. So do you know with that they can spend money at the source, even hospitals?
Hospitals?
Yeah.
But what does the Constitution say
No, I'm
about
saying with the right framework.
with the right legal framework here?
Yes. Do you know
Yes.
that can happen?
Yes, yes.
So has the County Assembly of Meru tried to pass such a law?
No.
They haven't.
Yeah.
That's all, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator for Kiambu. We now listen to the Senator of Machakos.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to follow up with what Senator of Kiambu has just asked about the red attire in the church. If I say that the governor was responding or responding to the video that I've seen here, saying that they are wearing the red attire and they are going to pray bad prayers for her, will I be right?
You'll be right.
I'll be right.
Yes.
She was responding to what they were saying. 2, if I may ask you, because you said demons are only cast in churches and in crusades, your own words. Where is it maybe written in the Bible or anywhere we can refer to that one can only cast demons in church or in crusades?
In this motion, there is nowhere we have mentioned governor was casting out demons.
No, somebody asked that question and then you answered.
It's the practice that I've always seen from evangelicals. I'm not one.
It's only what you have seen people do.
Yes.
There is nowhere written that you cannot cast out demons in any forum.
What are demons?
Well, you mentioned it yourself. So
again.
I'm only questioning you about what you said in this forum.
Okay.
So you should tell me what are demons. Because you said it, and you say they can only be casted out in church or in crusades.
I said that there is a setting for church services that includes praying for those who are demon possessed. According to what I've seen in practice. And that was not the case in the motion. There was no demons that were being cast, or someone being told, come here, we cast out your demons. I've not seen that anywhere.
That's what you said, and I just wanted you to clarify or substantiate.
Yes.
If it is true, those demons can only be cast out in church or in crusades or anywhere else.
Whether
they can only be cast out in church or on crusades.
In my understanding, yes.
In your understanding?
Yes.
I can say that you are wrong because a prayer can be made anywhere, even here in this forum. A prayer can be made. Okay? Then
there's a difference between prayer and casting out demons.
This video, yeah, a prayer, you can pray and you can cast out demons as you pray. You can. It is possible.
Yes, Honorable Senator, I'm lost.
Yeah, because what you don't know, don't indulge into it because it will cause you problems. So one, the governor was responding in that clip to the sayings of that they are wearing red and the prayers that they can pray against her can harm her. So according to me and according to the video, she was responding to those. But those were not her words. She was only responding. 2, the 10 million for Ward Development Fund that you talked about, was it executed and given to the MCAs, and did they implement any projects in their wards, the 45 wards, before coming to demand for more? Are those 10 millions over already?
Thank you, Senator. At no point did I talk about Ward Fund. The entire period that I've been here, I never mentioned it anywhere. It's not in my affidavit. Ward Fund does not exist. And it's counsel for the governor who mentioned it during the day I was following on TV and saying that the governor has disbursed 10 million to MCAs, and there is nothing like that I've done. And if the governor does that, it's illegal.
Well, there's somewhere we read about that, And it was, I think your council was guiding
No.
and asking question about the 10 million and the Ward Development Fund, and that the MCRs differed with the
It's
governor.
the Governor's Council who was saying, who had indicated that the governor has released money to these people, 10 million per ward, and the dispute is they are coming for more so that it gets to 20 or 25. Those were his exact words because I was following, and there is nothing like that anywhere.
Okay.
And Ward Fund is not a contest before this house.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Roba.
Thank you very much, Chair. In the process of questioning, there is one issue that was mentioned, and for the record, it was inappropriately captured. The issue of whether the governor has a leeway to decide whether he can operate with 5 CEC, 6, 7, or 10. Article 179(3) it states that the structure or the number is 1/3 of the MCAs, total number of MCAs up to a maximum of 10. And as such, there is no leeway. It's not discretionary. That is just for the record. Now, my question. And I will go straight. Allegation E, misconduct relating to nomination of county executive committee members. And of particular interest to me is this is, impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the governor of, Meru County. And as such, every allegation that has been leveled, the committee and this house must be able to make sure that every information in it is gotten with clarity. And as it relates to E of that misconduct, reorganizing her government to 6 departments and 3 CEC members after the rejection of some nominees instead of submitting names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval. Now, before I go to the question, for purposes of just clarity, because I just want yes or no at the end. Article 179(1) and 2 says the executive authority of the county is vested in and exercised by the county executive committee. The county executive committee consists of the county governor and the deputy governor. That is in as far as Article 179(2). Then the County Government Act, Section 30, which Senator Sifuna talked about, and is of particular interest to me, 30E, which is 30 deals with the functions and responsibilities of a county governor. E of 30 says constitute the county executive committee portfolio structure to respond to the functions and competencies assigned to and transferred to each county. Then when we go further to, when read together with Section 46 of the County Government Act, A, B, and C, that is 1, A, B, and C, which states, for the record, the County Executive Committee shall determine the organization of the county and its various departments, and for that purpose may establish, continue, or vary any department, and determine the object and purpose of the department. Determine the number and nature of departments or at that decentralized unit. Abolish any department, or determine or change the name of any department. Now, number 2 of the same E says the executive committee shall take into account and be guided as needed to organize its department and other structures in a flexible way in order to respond to the changing priorities and circumstances. Now, I will come to the question. that has been listed as an allegation is in the governor exercising constitutional mandate and legal mandate has given, looking at the circumstance that she has a county government to run and the executives have been rejected and she has 3. So legally speaking, what do you find wrong in the actions of the governor in assigning more departments with the number of the CECs that has been approved or she's left with, if this is the provision of the law? Over to you, and that's my only question.
Yes. The governor is within a mandate, according to the Constitution and the County Governments Act, to reorganize the departments to be suitable to what she feels, what she wants and how she wants to execute our government, which she did. She did exactly that, came up with 10 departments and appointed 10 CECs and brought them to the assembly. Now, there is a County Government Approval Act that directs what happens in the approval process of appointees of the governor. Then the governor, she should have reorganized them to 6 and appointed 6 CECs.
Just because I've read and belabored in going through all these sections of the law for purposes of, and I've taken this because you're second-term MCA, you know, you've been there before. The question becomes, the County Assembly has rejected 7, approved 3. Okay?
Yes.
How do you propose for the governor to run the functions of the county government for which he is legally mandated under the circumstance and, you know, in accordance with priorities and circumstances, which gives her, the law gives her the legal mandate? What do you find wrong? Because you've cited that as an allegation against the governor for, you know, just executing her mandate within the law.
Honorable Senator, through the chair, would I be allowed to, I would like to seek your permission, Mr. Chairman, to see whether I can ask a question to the Senator regarding the same.
Very well. You will not do that.
He will answer, then ask if he wishes.
Okay.
No, the
chairman has directed. Yes.
The chair has refused.
Thank
We
you.
shall not change the process.
Thank you.
Otherwise, a high court, one of you might go to court if
Yes.
you will not be satisfied
Yes.
with what we have done today.
Yes.
And if the process is found faulty,
Yes.
that'll be it. We will have wasted time.
Yes.
So you will not ask a question at this stage. Yes,
Yes, so
Senator,
my issue would have been with the County Government Approval Act that provides for what happens when the names are rejected. Is it a law that should have been followed? Yes, I would answer that the law should be followed when she is supposed to reorganize the government. That is simply by looking at the reasons for rejection and not going to a rally, verifying the rejection and saying those MCAs, like she has done in those videos, acted in bad faith. These were good people. She should have looked at the reasons for rejection, just like Parliament rejects some names. I don't expect the President to go verify in Parliament.
Mheshimiwa, I'm avoiding a statement of premeditated commitment of the execution of the governor before, because the processes of the law does not assume there will be vacuum anywhere. Okay? The circumstances within which the governor operated,
Yes.
under the circumstance.
Yes.
Because the only thing
The circumstances.
that you are, by what you are trying to justify is your expectation as an assembly, because you've rejected 7, is that the governor should have been grounded completely.
No.
Whereas the law and the sections I've read allows the governor legally to execute that mandate within the law as she sorts out the other issues that you're mentioning of going back, identifying other CECs, resubmitting, or resubmitting with reasons if the assembly has given her reasons for rejecting, which is able to be addressed by the governor.
The county government, the County Assembly's Approval Act has told the governor what to do so that there is no vacancy, like you are alluding, Honorable Senator, that she should seek fresh names or even bring those names if the circumstances have changed.
Okay, Chair.
Unless you say that this law is invalid.
Mheshimiwa, asante. I'm finished, Honorable Senator.
Thank you, witness. Take no offense. This will help you going forward.
Thank you.
Senator Folam.
Thank you, Chair. My questions will be very brief. I just want to know, in your own opinion, if someone appoints a spouse in a volunteer position, would that be nepotism?
It depends on the nature of the volunteerism. It depends on what they're appointing them to do.
Okay. Question number 2.
Can be nepotism if they were appointing them in a nepotistic way.
Sorry? I've not understood.
I'm saying, you have asked me whether it can be regarded as nepotism. I'm saying it depends on the nature of appointment. So if it was nepotistic, whereby the spouse is given, where there is a competition somewhere and the spouse has entered the competition, where the governor has powers to decide who gets what and gives the spouse, that could be nepotism. So I'm addressing myself to the circumstances of this appointment, whereby the governor expressly appoints the spouse to an inexistent office.
Question number 2. Is there any position that Her Excellency the Governor created in total disregard of the Public Service Board?
Is there what?
Is there any position that Her Excellency the Governor created and drew public funds in total disregard of Public Service Board?
The governor created the positions that she appointed the person of the husband to, but I'm not aware of any funds. Like she said herself, the position is not supposed to be remunerated, but it's not about remuneration like I've indicated before.
Question number 3. Why do you think that it was very important or it was necessary for the governor to forward the name of the husband for approval, or rather for the vetting and subsequent approval to a position that seemed to suggest that it was a volunteer position?
If you look at the positions that were created by the County Governments Act, the positions of the board to the Meru Youth Service, all those appointees are supposed to be submitted to the Assembly for vetting and approval. Now that she has created an office and appointed somebody, she needs to follow the procedure and bring this person. Then that way we could also be able to look at the law where it is instead of filling the office directly. Most of the offices of boards, like this one is a patron of a board, are supposed to be brought to the Assembly for vetting.
Thank you, Kamau. Senator Wakenyori.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Kyogora, in the spirit of comradeship, because I know you are a student leader like me, allow me to ask you a few questions to guide this committee in providing sound and good decisions to the people of Meru. One, what's your opinion in the duty, if any, of a first gentleman? And is he expected to shy away from any duties at all? Maybe and if you reason with me, maybe the governor was just complimenting her husband. You know, you can call your spouse darling, honey. Maybe she was calling him in the patron of Meru Youth to allude to his youthfulness, or the ambassador of hustlers at least to show his hustler credentials. So would you therefore say that the governor's spouse is bound by Article 10 of the Constitution regarding national values and principles of a public officer? Yes, Honorable Kyogora. That's my first question.
Yeah, I would not support your thinking, Honorable Senator, that this might have been done because of love. You can easily kill someone because you have found them with someone that you love. you say I did it because of love, does that mean that the judge is going to forgive you because you did it out of love? You're going to be jailed for manslaughter if you did it out of passion. Now, if the governor was breaking laws out of excitement, out of love for the husband to give him various portfolios in the government without following the due process, then that is very unfortunate. And I don't think the other 46 governors of this country are unromantic so as to appoint their spouses to county offices by creating offices for them. In fact, we have 6 other female governors. Do you want to tell me they don't love their husbands?
My second question, can you confidentially, in confidentiality or confidently confirm that any of the roadside appointees are currently holding appointment letters?
I cannot confirm that.
My third question and last one, can you tell this committee that the motion of impeachment is not fueled by personal vendetta because the members had hardly known each other? Yeah.
Yes, the motion cannot be fueled, could not have been fueled by personal vendetta, either from the mover myself or from the members. Because on August 9, 2022, only 9 members out of 45 were re-elected. So there is no way these other people who have come in as new could have been having any vendetta with the new governor because they are new. Out of 23 female MCAs in the county assembly, all of whom approved this impeachment motion, only 5 were renominated. All the other female MCAs are new. So it cannot be a personal vendetta from them. It can also not be a personal vendetta against me because I have to adduce evidence to whatever I'm bringing to the county assembly, and there are safeguards, constitutional safeguards against personal vendetta and politically motivated impeachment, whereby the Senate itself is sitting here as a neutral arbiter today to hold a trial for the governor. So there is no way I could have brought myself here without knowing that laws have been broken, the office of the governor has been abused. So it can't be personal vendetta that the governor committed all this wrong. And don't think there is anything personal in this motion. And there are safeguards to that.
Point of order, Chair. The witness has severally referred to the female MCAs. And I do not understand particularly why he would want to box the governor to the female corner. I mean, is there something very particular about the female MCAs?
No, there's nothing. I was giving data of the nominated MCAs who came back, either by election or by nomination, to say that these people could not have ganged up to have a personal problem with the governor because only 5 were nominated, and then other than one woman who was elected, 44 out of 45 are men.
It's not the first time
the question was about vendetta from the MCA, so I was trying to demonstrate that, Honorable Senator.
Chair, I would want him not to pursue the gender card because we have deliberately avoided the gender issue. Otherwise, we would then say she's being persecuted because she's female.
It is so directed.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you, witness. You've done very well. We are about to go through. Senator for Migori.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, DMK, for the time and the insights provided to this committee. I want to quickly address myself to about 3 issues. The first one is the allegation number 4, which is mostly on the PFM Act and the violations thereof, therefore, which are predominantly based on Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital. The PFM Act is anchored mostly in the Constitution under Article 207, and I'm going to only read one for you because it's a very serious allegation. The Article 207, Subarticle 1,
says there shall be established a revenue fund for each county government, into which shall be paid all money raised or received by or on behalf of the county government, except, and I want to underline that word, except money reasonably excluded by an act of parliament. Article 1, Section 109 of the PFM Act, and I'm only going to focus on subsection 2B. Subsection 2 says, the county treasury for each county government shall ensure that all money raised or received by or on behalf of the county government is paid into the county revenue fund, except money, and that's why I'm going to B, that may, in accordance with other legislation, this act or county legislation be retained by the county government entity which received it for the purposes of defraying its expenses. Honorable DMK, my question is, can you confirm absolutely for the record that there is no county legislation that allows for retention of funds by the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital?
There is none.
There's none. Can you also confirm or share with this committee if there is any bill or any proposed laws under the County Assembly of Meru on this matter?
There's none.
There's none. Thank you so much. My second question will be on public participation, and it's a question with options. Who carried out public participation, in your view, in the Assembly with regard to the motion that is here? Option A, members of the County Assembly of Meru. Option B, a committee of the County Assembly of Meru. Option C, a single member of the County Assembly of Meru. And option D, a staff of the County Assembly of Meru.
I don't think any of your suggested answers applies here, because the public participation was carried out by the County Assembly here. So it cannot be a staff, because
it was carried by
the County Assembly of Meru.
By the County Assembly of Meru.
Yes, because it's the one, it's the clerk who had advertised actually the public participation, and then it's the staff who are there in numbers, because one staff could not have done it.
Oh, you've answered.
Yes.
You've answered, don't worry.
Yes.
I get you, my friend.
Yes.
Do you find it concerning in your own way for you having signed the public participation document?
I don't find it concerning.
Okay. Last question.
Where the governor said she will go to that assembly whether they want it or not. So that Kamukunji was called urgently so that the members can decipher what the governor had said in the radio.
Thank you. And since the meeting, or rather since the press conference after the meeting, up to date, have you interacted with the press conference?
Myself?
Statement? You
yes,
have, right?
I have.
was the content of the press conference similar to your expectation of the agenda before you attended the meeting, in your understanding now?
No.
Okay, thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Before we migrate to the next point, I'll allow Senator Thangwa, who has something, just to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, for this opportunity. It is on a question that I asked, and the same question has been asked by Senator for Migori, Senator Eddy, on the issue of whether there is a legal framework that allows the Meru County Referral Hospital to spend money at source. Mr. Speaker, there is an act, and it is called Meru County Teaching and Referral Hospital Board. A board is established, and if I can read to you section 14 of that act, it says, after a board is established, the board will have funds, and the funds of the board shall comprise such monies as may be appropriated by the county assembly. So the county assembly put the money into that fund. Such sums as may be realized from the board's business. So that is the amount that they charge at the hospital. Monies earned or arising from any investment of the funds. Such grants or transfers as may be received from the national government. Grants and donations received from any other lawful source. Such monies received as user charges, fees payable, or insurance. And Mr. Chair, the board has a director, and they have a CEO who at least 3 months before the commencement of each year, financial year, the board shall cause to be prepared estimates of the revenue and the expenditure of the hospital for that year. So maybe we go back to the witness, Honorable DMK. Are you aware of that act?
I'm aware now of the act, but it does still not permit for monies obtained to be retained and spent at source. Actually, I've been listening to what you are reading, Honorable Senator, whereby they have to prepare a budget, the money has to be appropriated by the assembly, and sources are from business that they can do as a hospital, and you cannot say that the money that is charged from patients is part of the business of the board. The board is a board corporate that is allowed to do its own business.
Let me read for you section 14.3. The board shall open, and remember you said there was no such act, right? You were not aware.
I'm not aware. Yeah.
You were not aware. Yeah. I'm informing you about the Meru affairs. The board shall open and operate bank accounts into which monies received shall be paid solely for the purpose of managing and administering the funds received. So that means what the governor was saying, that when they are managing the affairs of the county, of the hospital, the law itself permits that.
Remember what the governor was telling them to use the funds that they remit to the revenue fund. The fact that she was telling them to retain...
Order.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We will not proceed with altercations. You started by saying that you are not aware, and now the law has been brought to your attention. You've put your case. The senators will use what you said and weigh it against the provisions of the act by the County Assembly of Meru.
Point of information, Chair, with your permission.
1 minute. Yes, I think point of information?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
You want to inform who?
I want to inform the House that indeed we have annexed.
You want to bring it to the attention of the House?
Yes, on the question on the floor.
The House is very informed.
Thank you, Chair. Yes. We want to confirm to the House that we have annexed that particular act that the Honorable Senator is talking about. It is appearing at page 161 of volume 2 of our bundle of documents. that act is in existence. It has been supplied to the House and to the County Assembly. Thank you.
County Assembly Attorney.
Chair, we also wish to inform you by section 14(4) of that same act as annexed. It says the revenues of that board of the Meru Level 5 Hospital shall be spent in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act.
Very well. So I want now to request with thanks and congratulations, our witness to step down from the witness stand.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yeah. It's been a very long afternoon, but that's how justice goes. Next witness.
Our next witness is Lucy Mukaria. She will be examined in chief by my learned friend, Mr. Eric Muriuki.
You sacrificed her time for the sake of the star witness.
We are guided,
how much time would you like us to give you?
Mr. Muriuki tells me he should take no more than 20 to 30 minutes with this witness.
The way we agreed. It will be 12 minutes because there is 40 minutes to share. So that is 12. See how best you can do it, Council.
Yes, Honorable Chair of the Special Committee.
Just hold. Let the witness take oath.
Would you like to affirm or take an oath?
I can take an oath.
Take an oath.
Yeah. I, Lucy McKenna Mukaria, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you. Slight improvement. 13 minutes, not 12. 13.
Yes, Honorable Chair of this special committee, Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, honorable members of the House, my name is Eric Muriuki. I am an advocate and I will be conducting the examination of our second witness. So, kindly introduce yourself to the committee.
Thank you very much, Council, Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators. My name is Lucy McKenna Mukaria. I am a nominated member of the Meru County Assembly, where I am nominated and I'm serving my second term as a nominated member. Honorable Chair.
Nominated by what party?
I am nominated by DEP party, popularly known as BAS. Honorable Chair.
Yes, through the Chair, how long have you served as a member of the County Assembly of Meru?
Honorable Chair, I have served, I'm serving my second term as a first loaded two. I first came to the County Assembly in the elections of the year 2017. But before then, I had served as a councillor, a nominated councillor in the de facto county councils, where I served in the Meru Municipal Council. Honorable Chair.
Are you familiar with the impeachment motion that is now before this House?
Yes, I am familiar with the impeachment motion because I voted to impeach and I have been following the proceedings thereafter.
So tell this Honorable House about any encounters that you have had with the Governor and perhaps speak to our relationship with other leaders.
Honorable Chair, as I said earlier, I served in the Second Assembly as a nominated member, And that is the first time I had an encounter with the governor when she served as the women rep representing Meru, the county MP for Meru. And at that particular time, I was serving as the chair of the women caucus in the assembly. So that is the first time I very, very briefly interacted with her when I approached her to be the patron of the women caucus in the assembly, which she did not take up. And from that time, I have just known her to be the women rep of Meru County, and also now as the governor of the Meru County Assembly.
So, are you aware of any pronouncements made by the governor regarding nominated female MCAs?
Honorable Chair, I remember maybe mostly during the campaigns and shortly before the campaigns of 2022, when actually she used to refer to the nominated member as having been elected through the blankets, whatever that meant, but the connotation was that we did not get the nominations because of merit. We had other favors. And Honorable Chair, this was repeated again on the 19th of October when she forcibly came into the assembly, where I witnessed her also again refer to some of the women MCAs and told them to go look for votes, not to always expect to be given seats through, again, the blankets. That is literally to say what she said, but this was not in good connotation, Honorable Chair, and that was actually demeaning the position of the nominated member of County Assemblies. Honorable Chair.
Okay, now that you've mentioned the 19th of October, let us go to that date. What happened on that day?
Council, on the 19th of October 2022, we were all the MCAs were in the county, in the premises of the assembly, and we were busy electing chairs of the committees in the chambers. And I remember while we were still there, and actually we were waiting for the governor's address that afternoon, but before then, and while we were still at the chambers electing members in different positions, I heard around the crowd coming into the assembly, and we all rushed out to see what was happening. And only to see that the governor, followed by a crowd of around 40 to 50 people, coming into the presence of the assembly. And actually, even before I could go out completely, I was caught up at the reception. And the governor was there actually coming forcibly, wanting to get into the chambers. And she had all these people around her. And actually, there was quite a lot of commotion caused at that particular time, Honorable Chair.
While you were there, what did you hear the governor say?
She actually came and got past me into the chambers, but then just in time the sergeant at arms closed the doors, and so she had to come back from the chambers, because the arrangement of the chamber is that it is quite behind the main entrance. And from there, when she came back, she found all of us, now everybody was alarmed, and we had all gone out, and most of us were crowding the reception there, and she started actually like exchanging and shouting to the MCAs and asking. I remember I personally asking her, Your Excellency, you don't have to do that. You just need to walk to the speaker's office, and the speaker will gown up and bring you to the chamber, because anyway we are expecting you. But then she started shouting now to the other ladies, asking them, well, you should go out there and look for votes. You don't always expect to be given seats under the blankets, like Honorable Chair said earlier. And before I realized, she had started walking up the ladder, up the staircase to the Speaker's office. And before long, I could hear commotions at the Speaker's office. And I heard actually the secretary begin to make noise because I think she was alarmed. Or so later I learned that she was alarmed. And the Speaker came out. Because the Speaker had already gone out, he went up to the chambers, and the Speaker gowned up, and the Sergeant at Arms escorted the Governor to the chambers. Shortly before that, the sitting bell had already rung, and we had all gone into the chambers. Honorable Chair.
Yes, we are constrained for time. We only have 5 more minutes to go.
Yeah.
So, what was supposed to happen in the assembly that day, very briefly?
What was supposed to happen, the governor was supposed to give a county address, the opening address.
Did that address happen?
She was escorted to the chambers, and all the preliminaries were done. And when she took to the podium, the MCAs got out of the chambers.
And briefly, what was the governor's reaction to that MCAs walking out?
I may not know the reaction, but I think there was no quorum to address the assembly, and so she was escorted out, where she went to the Speaker's office, and shortly after that she came out, got into her car, got up the sunroof of her car, and she went to the gate where she was applauded. She was being applauded by a round crowd at the entrance of the county assembly. Honorable Chair.
Now, being a female member of the county assembly of Meru yourself, you must be aware of how many female MCAs are in the county assembly.
Yes, the number of the women MCAs are 23, both elected by universal suffrage and those that are nominated by political parties.
The governor, in her affidavit by way of response to this impeachment motion, in paragraphs 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, alleges that her impeachment is an issue of gender, or rather she's being targeted because she is a woman. What do you say to that?
Honorable Chair, we cannot, we cannot say that the governor is being embattled because she's a woman. No, otherwise all the 23 women MCAs would not have impeached her. And we cannot reduce the unrest in Meru right now to just the issues of gender. There are serious governance issues that are being raised, and since morning, Honorable Speaker, we've been demonstrating that. And really, this has nothing to do with the fact that the governor is a female. Honorable Chair, there are very serious issues.
Up. 2 more minutes.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, we cannot reduce that discussion, that conversation that is really keeping the Meru people awake and that has kept this House, the honorable senators in this chamber since morning, to just the issues of gender. No, the Meru County Assembly is raising very serious issues of governance, and what we feel is like, personally, I feel like the governor has lacked in the area of using her soft skills to manage the county government. And by soft skills, I mean, Honorable Chair, the lack of proper communication We have been seeing...
So let me stop you there because you are constrained for time.
Yes.
Which of the 62 specific violations leveled against the governor have been leveled against her for the reason that she is a woman, to the best of your knowledge?
None at all. None at all. We have not been complaining about the governor being a woman, no.
And my last question to you, what latitude does being a woman afford the governor to breach?
I didn't want to interfere because of time, and but I just want to caution the council from both sides. When you bring witnesses, they are here to help us with evidence. You've been cautioned time without number on the issue of asking witnesses to give us opinions. You will be disadvantaged. I just wanted to reiterate that, Chair.
Thank you. The Council for Governors cross-examine, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Honorable Lucy Mukaria, good evening.
Very good evening, Council.
You have told this honorable committee that the governor has accused female MCAs of being nominated through the blankets.
Yes.
You have.
Council, yes.
That was not an allegation that was brought in the impeachment motion, was it?
No, I was just giving, laying a background of why I personally did not go along with her.
Okay, so you voted to impeach the governor because of an allegation that was not contained in the impeachment motion?
No.
But you did not get along with her because of those sentiments?
No, I said, Council, that I did not get along with her because of all the allegations that we have been showcasing throughout the day, Honorable Chair.
You have talked of the events of 19th of October 2022.
Yes.
Confirmed to this committee that indeed that was a gazetted day when the governor was supposed to appear and give a maiden speech to the county assembly.
Yes, it is.
Were you expecting the governor to show up?
Yes, we were expecting him in the afternoon at the 2:30 sitting of the 19th of October.
At what time did the governor enter the county assembly?
Way before 1 p.m., sorry, I repeat, way before 1 p.m., all around 1 p.m. We had not prepared to sit for the 2:30 p.m. sitting.
Let us look at paragraph 9 in your witness statement. You have accused the governor of accosting one Honorable Frida Naito.
Council, through the chair, perhaps you could share with us the page of the document you're referring to so that we can all follow.
Thank you, Honorable Senator for Nairobi. I'm referring to page 9 of volume 5 of the County Assembly's documents. I'm looking at page 5. It is the witness statements contained at volume 5 of the County Assembly's documents. Her statement appears from page 8 all the way to page 13. So I'm referring to paragraph 9 of her statement, which specifically appears at page 10. So on that page, paragraph, you accuse the governor of accosting one Frida Naito, a nominated MCA.
Yes,
correct?
Council.
Again, there has been no allegation in the impeachment motion of the governor accosting any member of County Assembly, specifically Frida Naito.
Yeah, I was narrating the
It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question. there is no specific allegation in the impeachment motion where the governor is being accused of accosting any member of the county assembly?
Yes.
There is none. And the said Frida Naito has not in any way filed an affidavit or a witness statement to that effect that she was ever accosted by the governor?
No, this was my witness statement, so it is me who saw that.
It is you saw that?
Yes.
But the person who was accosted has not taken time to accuse the governor of.
No, this was my witness statement, so it is me who saw that.
It is you saw that?
Yes.
But the person who was accosted has not taken time to accuse the governor of that?
Yes. She's not a witness in this case.
You also confirm that you were not one of the witnesses presented before the county assembly to support the impeachment motion?
There was no requirement for witness at the assembly.
You did
and
not.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. Thank you. Look at paragraph 10 of your witness statement again. You accuse the governor of scaring off the secretary. You've actually told this committee that you sensed that there was some cause for alarm at the Speaker's office.
Yes.
Again, the impeachment motion did not contain any allegations of the governor ever threatening anyone at the county assembly, specifically the secretary of the Speaker.
Again, Council, this is my witness that I have sworn under oath. So these are the occurrences that I saw, and so the answer is no.
Has the secretary filed any notice, any affidavit? Or
not that I am aware of, Council.
Not that you're aware of. You've also claimed that your car...
Order. Order. You've made your point. You've made your point. Take your seat. Council for the County Assembly. Procedure rule number 20. Why have you brought here Mrs. McKenna to speak to a matter that is not in any of the charges? Please, if you have a similar witness coming, serve us the time. We don't want to appear like we are blocking you, but you can see clearly the things she's speaking to are not before this House.
We are guided, Chair, but if you read the impeachment motion, you note that it says the specific matters listed are just illustrative examples of a long-going campaign of vilification and humiliation of other leaders. And if we had sought to prove all of them, we would have brought to you a litany of hundreds of incidents. Our thinking, which we may be right or wrong, was that having clustered the allegations, we only needed to illustrate to you by the examples stated in the motion. But the governor had noticed from the motion itself that the matter, the specific incidents given are expressly indicated as illustrative examples of a long-raging campaign against other leaders. But I can confirm, Chair, the other witnesses won't even delve in that direction.
Yes, that is a good assurance. Poor us. How do we convince the governor that he's going through a fair process? If your witness is giving an account of when the governor was a member of the National Assembly, what has it got to do with these proceedings? Please take your seat, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Chair, maybe to help the council, because the process of removing a governor from office through impeachment, first they go through the motion. After the motion, the assembly forms a committee to investigate all the allegation, to investigate what was illustrative, as he mentioned. So that means that's when those people who have been mentioned should appear or could have appeared before the committee. So the question is, did they? Did Honorable Lucy, and for a moment I thought the Honorable Governor was giving evidence against herself. They somehow look alike. But what I wanted to mention is that did they appear before that committee? If they did not appear before that committee, Chair, then this is a goose chase.
Yeah, he did not. He has even said it from the witness stand. We were just being patient. We don't want to look unfair. So, Madam McKenna, thank you so much for making time to make the presentation you just did. You are now free to step down.
Chair.
From the witness.
Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Just a minute.
Chair.
Just a minute. Just a minute, members. We will hear the council there. Then I'll come and rule.
Chair, please don't release her. There's something I want to.
Yes. Honorable Chair, I also want to make a similar submission that the witness is testifying on the other ground of forcible entry into the assembly. It is not purely the issue of the vilification of nominated MCAs. And to respond to what...
You're saying the next witness?
No, this witness is also if you read a witness statement, it also speaks to the allegation of forcible entry into the assembly. So it is not true that the witness is only testifying about the issue of vilification of nominated MCAs.
Okay,
that is one.
Point is made.
I have a second issue that I want to raise, Honorable Chair. In response to what Senator Karungo Dango has said, you will note from Standing Order number 65 of the County Assembly of Meru Standing Orders, there is no committee that is formed to investigate or to consider the impeachment motion. So there was no committee before which all these witnesses could appear before to investigate the impeachment motion. That is not the procedure. The procedure is that once the motion is tabled, it undergoes public participation, and finally the House in plenary considers the impeachment motion. There is no committee at any stage whatsoever.
Thank you. So going forward, let me help you. When the County Assembly of Meru is sitting in plenary, it's a committee. It's called the Committee of the Whole. So that is the committee to which this witness would have appeared. To be fair to both of you, she did not appear before the Committee of the Whole. Yeah. Yes, Edwin?
Chair, with due respect, you know, she is a member of that committee that you're talking about. It would be tough for her to appear before herself. But the guidance I wanted to give the committee, we are already at an advanced stage with her. The cross-examination was just about to end. I don't think that, yes, just a minute, Chair. We as a committee will determine the value of the testimony that he has given. But at the stage at which we have reached, I think it's only fair that if he has concluded, you allow council to re-examine. Then, Chair, we have a few questions we will pose to her. One each, not too long.
Council, are you concluding?
I have two more questions, Honorable Chair. One is that...
you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Were you present when the governor sought to address the County Assembly on the 18th of October? Were you present at the chambers?
On the 18th of October?
On the 19th, sorry. 19th of October.
I was present at the assembly, yes.
You were?
Yes.
So you were part of the team that walked out on the governor, protesting?
Yes, I walked out.
You walked out?
Yes.
So you were protesting against the governor. Have you brought any evidence as to why the MCAs were protesting against the governor?
Come again with that question.
Have you produced any evidence of your grievances that caused you to walk out on the governor?
I must say that that was spontaneous. It wasn't planned at all. When the governor walked into the precinct of the assemblies forcibly and there was all this commotion around that, the reaction was we just could not continue with that. We could not pretend that all is well and just wait there. And I think for me, that's what I felt like, oh, I don't think I need to be here. So yes, I walked out.
Are you aware that the previous day, the Speaker of Meru County Assembly and other members of County Assembly had threatened not to listen to the governor unless she addresses the issue of the ward fund?
Nothing about the ward fund, but I think when the speaker told us at Kamukunji that the governor has not been picking his calls and that he has really tried to get the attention of the governor, and I think again, the governor was to address the assembly the following day, and this is now. We have waited for more than 2 weeks for the governor to have a conversation with us, and he was not able to do that. She was not able to do that. And the speaker had reached out to her several times. And when the speaker, so frustrated, told us the governor is not picking her calls, and whenever he goes to the office, he was not meeting her there. I think, again, spontaneously, people lost it and went out, singing. It was evident that we did that.
So there was a Kamukunji to discuss the governor's maiden speech and to discuss whether she should be allowed to deliver that speech or not.
The Kamukunji was not about that. We were also concerned that the governor is coming to address us, and we have been asking her to, plan what is it that we want to, do as both arms of the government. And she had promised to come and talk to us. We were, we wanted to discuss with her. It is only fair that when you are leading an institution like a county, you will sit together with the other leaders to discuss issues moving forward on how you want to govern together in unity and collaboration. But when that failed to happen, then I think spontaneously again we went out. That's the time Kenyans saw us going out singing. But again, we had no idea of what she was coming to discuss in the assembly, so we could not sit to discuss or preempt whatever she was coming to say.
Thank you. So you did not know what the governor was coming to present through her
we did not.
maiden speech?
Yes.
You would have wished the governor to discuss the content of her speech before it was presented. That is what you're saying in the committee?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But you were not aware of the content, therefore you would not allow a chance to deliver that speech. That's what you've just said.
No, I said it was spontaneous. Nobody had planned to preempt what the governor was coming to say.
Final question.
Yes, sir.
You say that the speaker called for that Kamukunji to discuss that issue. Does the speaker speak for elected members of county assembly?
The speaker convenes. I think it's a practice in parliament that a speaker would always convene people together. It's normally called the speaker's Kamukunji to discuss emerging issues. And so that's exactly what was happening. No pre-plan.
Did anyone petition the speaker to call for that Kamukunji on the emerging issues, as you call them?
I am not in the leadership, but I think there was this pressure to really sit and discuss things.
That is all for this witness,
Honorable Chair.
Tobiko.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we have, through these proceedings, tried, and I said again, to deliberately keep off from the gender card. But what I'm seeing coming out from the side of the county assembly is a way to drag us into the gender issue, which now brings me to a thinking that, could the guilty be afraid? Because I do not understand the evidence of the honorable member who is on the witness stand. But I want to ask her one or two questions. Yes, Chair. She said that the governor has severally referred to the nominated senators, the nominated MCAs, as nominated through the blankets. Does she have a clip or evidence to that effect? Yes or no?
Right now, no, but if need be,
right.
I can present it to this House, Honorable Chair.
It is a no, for the record. she doesn't have it.
Chair, we have that clip. But it is not presented as evidence in this particular sitting, Honorable Chair.
And then, are you trying to incite the nominated members of this Honorable House? I mean, that the governor says nominated members, whether of whatever house, are nominated through the blanket?
I'm not trying to incite Honorable Senator, but severally she has said
Are
that.
you engaging in what we call in the women's circles PhD, pull her down?
No, Honorable Senator. I have been in the movement, the women empowerment movement for close to 20 years today, and it was always about, my quest was always about building other women.
It has always been said, out there, that women are their own enemies. Are you really trying to prove this, to have come and taken that stand today?
No, Honorable Senator, I cannot do
I have
that.
no further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sifuna.
Yeah, I had hoped that we would allow council to go first because that's the tradition we had established. But
since we are already there,
I can proceed.
You finish, then we shall give him an opportunity.
I'm very happy, Mheshimiwa Makena, that you've said that you've been in the women movement for a very long time, and that basically makes me confident that you know all the things that have been said about women in leadership and the challenges that have been faced. I want you to tell me, is it the position that in fact women cannot exercise gender bias against their own fellow women? Is that the position of a gender movement or your position? Is it possible, given our own historical and cultural problems in various communities, is it possible for a woman to exercise bias against another woman because she's a woman?
No, that would be wrong judgment.
Is it possible?
I don't think we've come of age as women movement really, and we are looking into issues, and never the gender can't.
But you are aware in certain communities, in certain places, just Senator Tobiko has expressed it herself. It has been said, and surely as a person in that movement for all that time, it has been said, and I'm sure you've heard it, that women are sometimes their own worst enemies. When that is said, isn't it evidence that in fact in certain instances it is possible for me as a man to exercise gender bias against a fellow man just because he's a man? It is possible.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators.
Just yes or no. Is it possible or not? I'll move on.
I don't think it is possible right now. We have come of age as a as a society.
Thank you.
And I think
My last question to you. You know I wear many hats. I am also the SG of a party. What do you understand to be the role of this nomination slot? What do you understand? Why did we come up with these nomination slots? What purpose are they supposed to serve?
To give a gender perspective and voice to the decision-making table.
And in terms of growing leadership?
Yeah, also to give us an opportunity to showcase our prowess and maybe our leadership.
So was it intended that it is going to be a tool that is used to nominate people in perpetuity? I want you to address the question of the growing of the capacity of the people who were nominated. What was the ultimate aim?
To give women an opportunity to grow their capacity to be able to take leadership positions.
And ultimately run for office themselves. That's what I want you to say.
Yes.
So that you cannot be nominated in perpetuity.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
It is it is only fair that we say that it is to grow to grow the capacity of women into leadership. They can get to that leadership positions either as appointees. We have seen women who have come from being nominated to become even...
Makena,
Yes,
I'm just
Senator.
saying, these nomination slots have a purpose they're serving.
Yes.
They're supposed to grow you when you're nominated once, to grow your capacity, your political and financial muscle, your connections and networks.
Yes.
For you to now be able to run for the seat and create another opportunity for somebody else to be nominated. Is it fair for that movement for you to be nominated in perpetuity That's the question I want you to answer. Is it a simple yes or no?
It's not against the law.
Thank you, Chair. Further to what Senator Sifuna is asking the Honorable Lucy. Honorable Lucy, I presume you're familiar with Article 27 of the Constitution that heavily deliberates on discrimination. And as a second-term nominated MCA, by extension, a beneficiary of the aforementioned article, of which I'm a beneficiary like myself, would you say that Governor Mwangaza has had the time or fair chance to materialize her manifesto from which the electorate can judge?
Yeah, I think there is no period unto which the provisions of law are suspended. And what we have been talking about since morning is the fact that there is some provisions of the law that have been not followed duly. And so there is no, again, an excuse to controversies, Honorable Senator, when somebody can be given time to make more mistakes, I mean, and just get away with it. So what we've been demonstrating here is the fact that, like I first said, that the governor has not been able to use her soft skills of communication, of teamwork. That's the discussion. It has really nothing to do with her as a person or as the governor of Meru County government. It is about what has not happened and what has happened in excess.
You've made your point, Madam McKenna.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Honorable Lucy. In your affidavit, paragraph 9, that is found on page 10, you say that having failed to force their way into the chamber, the governor and the rowdy mob turned and walked towards the reception. At the reception, the governor accosted Honorable Frida Naito.
Yes, Senator.
Is, in your best understanding, Honorable Frida Naito aware that she was accosted?
Yes, she was aware.
Okay.
Yes.
And in your best understanding, why do you think that Honorable Frida Naito is not appearing before us?
Honorable,
to illustrate that fact.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, I swore this affidavit on oath just to demonstrate the misconduct around entering forcibly into the press seat of the assembly.
That's
wasn't
not my
really
question.
more about, it wasn't specifically about...
Order, Lucy.
Yes, Senator.
That's not my question.
Yes.
I understand that. You've sworn this affidavit and understand why you've sworn it. My question is, in your understanding, why do you think Honorable Frida Naito hasn't appeared before us to illustrate the fact that she was accosted?
This Honorable Senator was my affidavit, so I was talking about the things that I saw in hand, and so maybe if Honorable Frida Naito is called upon to come and testify here in this Honorable House and to this Honorable Committee, maybe she could.
Okay, the last follow-up, Chair, if you don't mind. In one of your remarks today here, you indicated, and I'll quote or paraphrase, that in your view, maybe all these troubles of the governor is because she lacks soft skills. Did you say that?
Yes, I said that, Senator.
So are you suggesting that the governor has not offended the people of Meru County with regards to legality, but instead she has offended the people of Meru with regards to interpersonal relations between her and other members of the leadership of the county?
Honorable Chair, we have been demonstrating to this Honorable House the whole morning about the illegalities and the atrocities that the governor committed. I was just bringing a parallel on the soft skills, just to say if she had used, apathy, if she would have used teamwork, if she had used proper communication channels, we could not be where we are today. But the part of legality and illegality has really been extensively demonstrated in this House this afternoon. Today.
Understood.
Yes, sir.
Just wait for me. In terms of legality issues and in terms of interpersonal skills problems that the governor might have, which one do you find outweighing the other? In your own opinion.
I wouldn't weigh them one over the other. I would really look at them concurrently.
Okay.
And say, has she committed atrocities? Has she committed illegalities? I say yes. Has she not been able to use the soft skills that I am alluding to? I say yes to both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Back to you, Chair.
Very well. So, witness, thank you very much for coming.
Excuse me.
The chair reserves the right to continue.
Yes, he does.
Can you relax completely? Colleagues, can we relax? We have time to manage. After midnight, the time is not ours. Yes, Marua?
No, mine was very briefly, Chair, because in her affidavit, Honorable McKenna, you state that you saw the governor leading a rowdy group of around 50 people advancing towards the Assembly chamber.
Yes, Senator.
They passed me forcefully and headed towards the Assembly chamber. Do you have evidence to this, what you saw, or to support what you saw? Because then in the absence of evidence, whatever you've stated here would be anecdotes, there would be circumstantial evidence. Why do you want us to believe us that you saw this?
Yes, Honorable Chair, in the morning that clip was of the governor entering the precinct of the Assembly forcibly was played, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, and that is coming to the Assembly, but going to the chamber, because it is towards Assembly chamber, they passed you. We want to see the governor and his about 50 people passing you forcibly. Do you have that video where you can observe that?
If the whole clip was played, and maybe with the advice of the chair and our lead counsel, if it was played, there was that bit where the governor was getting into the chamber with a round crowd around her. And in any other time that this can be...
And did you see yourself in that video?
No, you can't see me in that video. I wouldn't also recognize myself in that particular video, because we were so many of us, really. The only distinct person
your
who
point is made. Okay, Madam, point is made.
Thank you, Chair. In the County Assembly of Meru, do we have nominated male MCAs?
Yes, we have 2 nominated males.
Have they been accused of being nominated under the blankets?
I have not heard about that, Honorable Senator.
Okay. Mr. Chair, if you read the standing orders of Meru County Assembly about the governor's address to the Assembly, that is section 24(2), when delivering an address to the Assembly, the governor shall be heard in silence, and the address shall not be followed by any comment or question. So the question to the Honorable MCA, does that mean you are acting in contravention of your own standing orders? When the governor starts speaking, all of you move out singing and chanting.
Honorable Chair, I said earlier that this was a reflex action. It was actually spontaneous. It wasn't pre-planned that people should go out. And I think the happenings of around there overwhelmed everybody, and I think this was just a reaction that people went out.
And finally, the Honorable Frida Naito. Which party does she belong to?
She's nominated by the UDA party.
UDA party.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you, Chair. McKenna.
Yes, Senator.
You are a nominated member.
Yes, sir.
And we understand that you said that the governor accused the nominated members that they got their nominations from the blanket.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it?
Yes.
Could it be true that could that one have formed the basis of you supporting other elected members to impeach the governor?
That actually, Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators, is not in the, it is not in our motion. I was just using that illustration to lay a background. And I remember it is the council who had asked me whether I have interacted with the Honorable Governor earlier. So that was actually to just lay a background, but it also surfaced again on the 19th of October when she told this to one of us, the Honorable Frida Naito, in my hearing, Honorable Senator.
My last question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a point whereby the Meru MCAs have demanded money from the governor?
Not that I am aware of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council?
Yes, Chair. I wanted to point out that we have not conducted our re-exam, and actually the cross-examination has lasted way longer than the examination in chief.
Yeah, that's what we have noticed, unfortunately.
Yes.
But we shall manage time better.
Yes.
So, but take your chance now.
Yes, humbly, Chair, I request that you give us a bit more of time so that we can respond to all the issues that were raised in cross-exam. You were asked whether those insults against the female nominated MCAs form part of the motion. To the best of your knowledge, are these insults a part of a wider vilification campaign against leaders?
Yes, because evidently when you tell a nominated MCA that they have been given their seat through, under the blankets, that is vilification at its best, Honorable Chair.
The governor put in her response to the impeachment motion tabled before this House. Have you had an opportunity to look at that response by the governor?
Yes.
Now, this issue of gender, has been raised by the governor herself in paragraphs 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. What is your response to the fear that the gender card is being used against the governor when you consider that the governor herself raises this issue in her response to the motion?
Council, I think the governor would be very insincere. She's not sincere in saying that we have come this far because of because she's a woman and because she is a woman, and it would be really very insincere, because the issues that we have been raising have nothing really to do with, they have nothing to do with whether the accused is a female or a male. They are serious violations of law.
What issues in the motion?
Counsel, I don't want to look like I'm denying you time,
yes,
but the meaning of what you're going through, you want to respond to the issues that were raised by the governor's lawyers during cross-examination. The matter you are now
well guided.
Yes, the matter you are now prosecuting was an observation by one of the senators. They are not counsels to you.
All right. The governor's advocates put it to you that your witness statement does not address any issues that are raised in the impeachment motion. In follow-up, what issues raised in the impeachment motion does your witness statement speak to?
They speak to the forceful entrance to the precinct of the assembly.
Anything else?
That is all that is at the top of my mind right now.
All right. You are also asked
help us. During the alleged forceful entry into the county assembly, it is evident in this hearing that gazettement was there, date was appointed, the governor went there in accordance with the due process. And upon reaching there, the people who broke the law were the MCAs, because they went against standing order number 60, number 24, where they were expected counsel to sit in silence and listen to the governor. Instead, they walked out and started singing. So in this case, who broke the law?
Honorable Chair.
Help us.
Yes, I'm trying to help you, Honorable Chair.
Yes.
There is what triggered that's an inordinary action by the members of the assembly. You have to consider the full context. What happened that caused the MCAs to react in such a manner? And this witness has actually spoken to that. She has said they were, rather, maybe I could ask the witness to repeat what they were doing and what happened and what made them react that way. Because she has repeated several times that the actions, the inordinary actions of the MCAs were a reaction to a trigger. So she has said that they were in the House electing committee chairs, they heard noises, and then they went out to investigate. And Chair, I do not want to sound like I'm speaking on behalf of the witness, which is why I'm asking your permission to ask the witness to repeat that part, because it seems it has not sunk in well.
Hans said he has everything. So we'll have a time to replay it and so on. Don't let it worry you. You may proceed.
All right.
1 minute, counsel. Yes, point of order.
When Chair pronounces himself to the fact that there was an illegality with disregard to standing order, I think counsel is consulting. Counsel, is there provision that in any eventuality that anything happens, then that standing order can be suspended? I think that's what the chair is ultimately getting to. Is there provision that whether it's an excuse for mischief or an excuse for absolute reason that can suspend that particular standing order?
Yes, through the chair, I don't know whether the Honorable Senator wants me to address a question that was not raised in cross-examination, but if he does, then through the chair, I will pose the question to the witness. Was the governor entitled to come to the precincts of the assembly with a crowd or a mob of goons, and in the manner that the governor came to the precincts of the assembly?
Actually, no, Council. The assembly had gazetted the sitting on the 19th of October for the governor to come and address the assembly at 2:30 p.m. This is way before 1 p.m. and we are going about other duties that was before us. We were transacting other businesses in the chambers, and then we had a commotion. Ordinarily, and I said I have had an opportunity to serve in the second assembly where the governor then addressed the assembly 5 times. There is no time the governor comes with a round crowd to the president of the assembly to address the assembly. There must have been something that was wrong with the whole arrangement. So the governor comes way before the expected time and comes with a crowd. He is not even driving through to the assembly. She is walking from the gate. I mean, those are not ordinary things that were happening that particular time. And so again, I said, Honorable Chair, Senators, that the members walking out on the governor was just spontaneous. The way somebody would wonder, the things that happened in a brief moment, like a 30-minute session, and everything was going wrong because it was wrong at the start. Honorable Chair.
Now, you are asked by the Governor's Council that the previous day, the Speaker and Honorable MCAs had made pronouncements to the effect that they would not listen to the Governor unless she approved the word fund. And my question is, as a nominated MCA, what interests do you have in that word fund? And perhaps you can answer it along with the question of whether that issue of the word fund is an issue that has been raised in this impeachment motion.
No, and Honorable Chair, with or without the word fund, I would just continue with my assignment at the Assembly. So it isn't really beneficial to me as a nominated member. Honorable Chair, the issue of the word fund was dispensed about by the control of budget long way before even this impeachment motion was written. So it is actually not subject matter in this particular motion. And actually, I think that matter has already rested.
All right. My last question to you, through the chair, is Council asked you whether you walked out by preempting, or rather you wanted to know what the governor was coming to say at the Assembly. Was that, as you called it, a spontaneous action of MCAs walking out in any way connected with whatever the governor was coming to say at the Assembly?
No, I think it is our confidence at that point that was eroded because we were expecting all along. We had not even sat with our governor to chart way forward. Ordinarily, a governor and an elected MCAs would sit together to plan. And this is what we were asking to do. But when the governor was not available, I think this is what triggered most of the reactions that was seen, Honorable Chair.
Sorry, follow-up clarification on that. Specifically, on that day, what triggered that walking out? Just speak more clearly to what triggered that walking out.
Is this the 19th or,
yes,
or the
that is the 19th of October when when the MCAs, as you said, walked out
on the
protest.
governor?
Yes.
Yeah, as I said, that was again the happenings that were, whatever was happening around that particular time, when the governor forcibly got into the office, into the assembly, there were all these strangers around the assembly, and all that is what actually made the MCs not want to sit and listen to the governor.
Chairman.
It was actually nothing to do with the preempting. We were not even aware of whatever she was coming to speak to us about.
Chair.
And actually, Chair, it will be good to know that she wasn't only coming to address the MCAs, she was also coming to address the whole county. And so it is only fair that at least she should have, met the speaker and the House leadership to be able to chart way forward. I mean, these are some of the soft skills I was talking about, like that teamwork was not seen around that time.
Yeah, that marks the end of my re-exam, unless any of my team members has a question that we haven't asked. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable Senators.
Welcome for this, the wealth of information that has opened up some further understanding. Yes?
Chair, I'm just wondering, because the witness is telling this committee that the trigger, the word the council is using, was the happenings prior. Why, if they didn't want to listen to her, why did they go into the chambers in the first place? They knew that was the business of the day. Why not just after what had happened outside, just not go into the chamber? Because that tells me that that was not the trigger. They went in, sat in through the preliminaries, immediately the governor started her address, they walked out in synchrony. I'm just wondering, Mheshimiwa Makena, why not just not go into the chamber? Because these things happened prior to the afternoon sitting.
Yeah, I think we were all set to go to the chamber at first. And we went to the chambers. But just that trigger of the things that were happening around us is what made us walk out. So it wasn't pre-planned at all, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chair.
Wait a minute. Members, you'll bear with us. I'm sure the County Assembly attorneys, you might be wondering why this so much pressure on you. It's because it is your case now. Tomorrow, the shoe will be on the other foot, and you'll see the difference. So you have to prove your case. Senators, because of time constraints.
Chair, this is of national importance.
Okay.
Chair, I will not even particularly go to this particular witness now. But my thinking, I repeat, I have always thought that the county governments and what happens at the county assemblies, the county executives, is a replica of the national at the lower level. And because Kenyans are watching these proceedings live, it will be good for Kenyans to understand what goes on at the county assemblies so that we all help to streamline our devolution process. Chair, my thinking is that usually at the national, the day the president is coming to give the State of the Nation address is gazetted. And all members will be here. Those, whether of different parties, whether you are of the same persuasion with the president or not, all members will be seated by this time to listen to the president. And although the president will be addressing the nation from parliament precincts, he is actually addressing the whole nation. And so for the governor may be coming to address the county at the county assembly precincts, but yes, the governor is addressing the entire county. So the interest of members of the public will be there. Chair, I just wanted to put that for the record.
The point, yes. My Vice Chair.
Chair, thank you. I wanted to ask Mheshimiwa, because she's saying that they didn't have any plans of walking out on the governor, and yet the previous day they had a kamukunchi, which had been called, and which they discussed about how the governor was not communicating with the speaker. And here again you turn and you say there was no plans of walking out on her, and yet you said that triggered the walking out of it. And again, if I say that your communication with the governor when she was the woman rep of Meru, and she did not acknowledge or accept what you requested her to do, is what is pushing you to act like this. Will I be wrong?
You probably may not be right, Honorable Senator, Honorable Chair, because this is over 5 years ago. I think we have moved on, so it has nothing to do with that. That one, I used it to lay a background whether I knew the governor prior to now or not. And I said, I was also saying that to give more flesh to what I'm saying, I'm talking about communication, I'm talking about teamwork and all that. Your second question, your first question was whether this was not pre-planned. Yes, Honorable Chair, the previous day, that was on the 18th, what happened, happened. But then here again, very quickly, we came back to the assembly, wanting to listen to the government. And you know, we are the ones that had gazetted this particular day. There is no way we would go against our own day. So we came, and we were hoping that things have calmed down and that we are going to listen to the governor, and it's okay, let her address us and all that. But then the way the conduct of how she came to the assembly again showed us that even her refusal to listen to us and to talk to us and to plan with us was deliberate. That is actually what the reaction was about at that particular time, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Since Mr. Kyogora is not in plenary, I can't see him in gallery. You're the only MCA here. Watch out. Standing orders are everything. You better not break your standing orders. One of these days you will kill each other. In Wajir, people almost died because they didn't want to respect standing orders. In Nakuru, the same. So, in your own interest, respect the standing orders.
We stand guided.
Thank you so much. I now invite you, Council, to bring in the next witness. You are stepped down. Thank you for coming. Next witness.
Chair, we have two more witnesses. The one coming next is Father Elias Kinoti.
Next witness.
As he comes, Chair, he will be examined by my learned friend, Mr. Boniface Mawira.
Andy? I, Father Kinoti Kiduri, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Honorable Chair and Honorable Senators, for the record, my name is Meru Boniface Mawera, and I'll be leading this witness in his evidence. To enable the Honorable Chair and the committee follow-up, the witness statement for this particular witness is in the Assembly's documents, volume number 5, pages 14 to 21. And maybe before I proceed, Honorable Chair, can I get an indication as to the amount of time?
How much time do you want?
I think 20 minutes will be enough with this particular witness.
You had 40 minutes, which you had bargained for, and
yes,
we shared amongst the three witnesses, which was 39 minutes, 13, 13, 13.
Yes.
We didn't use it very well. We have done 1 hour, 25. So I'll give you 20 minutes.
Very well.
And I'll give the cross-examining team 10 minutes.
Very well, Chair. I'll be able to conclude within that time. So, Father Elias Kinoti, what do you do for a living?
Well, as my title reigns, I'm a priest, a Catholic priest, but I'm also a teacher in the university, Meru University, and I also am the parish priest of St. Rita Parish in Meru. I also am the chairman of all the priests, religious sisters and brothers in the Diocese of Meru. In addition to the Open Society, I have been a member of the MYS for the last 2 years since it was inaugurated. And
what is MYS in full?
Meru Youth Service, that is.
So you've been a board member of the Meru Service?
Yes, yes, and also a member of the budgeting forum in the county.
When were you appointed to the Merit Service Board?
It shouldn't be 2 years ago.
Okay.
The corona issue came in and the process slowed.
Are you aware, or rather, have you read the impeachment motion?
Yes, I have.
Are you aware, or rather you can inform the Honorable Chair in this committee, when the governor appointed a husband to the MOS board?
Should be September.
Okay.
And yeah.
Were you a member of the board?
I still am.
Okay. I think, Honorable Chair, we will not be playing the annex. Annex 2 was played in the morning, and the transcript thereof is at page 50 to 52. So I think of volume 1 of the Assembly's documents. So I'll just proceed with the examination. So when the governor made this appointment, you confirmed that you are a member of the board?
Sure.
Where ordinarily, or who ordinarily would have the documents or the letters of appointment, or this particular letter of appointment for the governor's husband, who would have this letter?
According to the Meru Youth Service Act, the board recruits its own member staffs, and where need me, through the consultation with the Meru and the Meru County Public Service Board.
Okay. So, does the MYS board have a copy of this letter of appointment?
We don't have any. I've not seen any if there is. And we haven't had a meeting since before election, that is.
What happened on the 17th of October at the Igoji Boys Secondary School, the former Igoji Boys Secondary School?
Well, I was actually in class doing my normal lectures, and I saw a call from the bishop, which I have to pick any time, apart from probably when I'm in mass. And I excused myself from the class and took a walk and listened to the bishop. The bishop asked me whether I have time to go and have a briefing with the bishop or with the honorable governor on how the MYS came to be
located at the Igoji Boys School, since I am a member of the board as well as a priest, and I was privy to both processes.
So, what happened specifically?
So once I told the bishop, it's fine, let me go and brief Excellency. I asked the bishop, is the meeting at our office or where is it? And the bishop told me the governor is going at the center. So I am to go to the center. It's quite far because I am on the other side of the town, that is in Meru, which is almost 40 to 45 kilometers to Igoji. So I picked my things from class and asked the student we could meet another time, drove to Igoji. On my way, I called the county secretary to be sure where we need to meet, where I need to meet the governor. And the county secretary told me the governor is going at the center. So I drove to Igoji. There were other two priests, Father Lawrence, who runs Ambonding Primary School right in the same premises, sharing the same piece of land with the MIS, but on different corners. And there was also the PA to the bishop, Father Patrick Misheni. So I also called Father Patrick to ask him, where are you guys and what can we, where do you need to meet? Then Father Lawrence also called me, asked me whether I can come to highlight exactly what transpired between the MIS and the land that the church sits its schools.
So, what attempts did you make to address these issues about the land with the governor? What attempts, when you arrived at the former Igoji Boys Secondary School, what attempts did you make?
Actually, long before I arrived, I asked the bishop, are we going to have a short brief meeting? I asked where the meeting will be. I asked the CS, the county secretary, whether there is a briefing or why we're going to have it. So in my knowledge, as I went with the great goodwill, I knew that we'll have a short briefing with the bishop, with His Excellency, on the processes that are taken place between the MIS and the church on the premises. But on arrival, I was told that Her Excellency said she is not going to meet anybody in bond rooms. That is not a meeting, not an issue to be dealt with in the bond room. So I was a little confused. Do I go back? What do I do? Anyway, I went and sat. She had already started talking and doing cross-examining people every time. And then at some point, she asked, is there a member of the board? And I looked around, there was nobody. So I was compelled by wish to give some information to just say I'm around. And I went and standing, and she asked me what happened, that the land that belongs to the county was leased to the county by the diocese. And actually, I remember saying that's a question that we would have dealt with in a more formal setting, because those are processes that happen in a formal setting. For me, I've always known that land to belong to the church, because according to the Trusts Act that is has been repealed now, occupation and the use over 60 years grants such rights to lease the land if one has used it. So that's my understanding.
What evidence do you have before this committee to show what transpired?
There is the video that was taken during
Chair,
that.
Honorable Chair, there is an X15, but because you are pressed for time, we will not be playing it. The transcript is on page 108 to 114 of the volume 1, the impeachment motion. The transcript is from page 108 to 114. So, in that video, what is the governor accusing the Catholic Church of?
Well, it was really disheartening because she accused us of being at a cartel. Actually, she mentioned the bishop. I think the term bishop may mean quite different things to different people. A Catholic bishop is not one of those guys you mention anywhere. You see, has not even responded. A very humble man. And we as priests and the Catholics there were taken aback as cartels. And she actually said that this is how your money has been stolen from the county. meaning now this lease is illegal, the ownership of land is illegal, and there must have been a cartel that sat to decide, you know, this piece of land belongs to us and we can lease it and make money. In fact, leasing this land took us quite a long time as a board. We looked at Igembe and Tigania, and our argument was Igembe and Tigania do not have any government institution. As you know, a government institution benefits the local community, and we didn't want to put that institution particularly in Imenti. And it was not discrimination, it is a way of sharing resources for the community. So we looked around and we...
Honorable Chair.
Right.
I think that is enough. Honorable Chair, I want to refer the witness to volume 2 of the governor's documents, specifically at page 113, the lease. And maybe you can read aloud paragraph B on page 113.
The landlord has caused to be erected on the said plot a building known as Diocese of Meru, registered trustees, Igoji Boys School, here after referred to as the property.
Who is the landlord in this context?
It is the Diocese of Meru.
And the lease is between, who are the parties to the lease rather? Who are the parties to the lease?
Please come again.
Who are the parties to the lease? Or this lease is between who and who?
The Diocese of Meru and Meru County.
We can then turn to page... So, what facilities are available at the former Igoji Boys Secondary School and now the Meru Youth Service Center? What facilities?
There is a big building which is a dining where the youth eats. It was a high school. There is a dorm, a big one. There are office buildings which were classes, and we transformed them as MYS into offices.
Who developed these facilities?
The church has developed the last 60 years.
Why has the county government been paying lease premiums to the Meru Youth? Why has the county government been paying lease premiums to the Diocese of Meru?
Because of these facilities, and the church has used the land for the last 60 years, put its money there.
Okay. Honorable Chair, I will further refer the witness to page 137 of still volume 2 of the governor's documents. You can turn to page 137. The report from the office of the governor. Are you there?
Sure.
From the heading of that document, or rather the letterhead, from which office does that document emanate?
County Government of Meru.
Okay. Which specific office?
The office of the governor.
Okay. Is the report dated?
No, I don't see a date anywhere.
You can turn to page, I think the last report. You can turn to page 153, which has annexures, but the report ends at page 140. Is that report signed?
Sorry, which page, 153 or 140?
Check page 140 first. Because the rest are annexes to that report, Honorable Chair.
Council, I don't see any signing.
The report is not signed.
Yeah.
Can that report be safely relied upon by this committee to form an opinion?
It's difficult to rely on something that has no date, no signature, Honorable Chair. It couldn't be a Google document, couldn't be anything, so I'm not sure how reliable this would be.
Does that report, just by a mere cursory look, you can go through the document.
Yes.
On page 138, there is a heading there, I think, community grievances. Is there anywhere in the report where it captures the sentiments of the Catholic Diocese of Meru?
I don't see any council, and that could be a serious omission because the church has its own perspective.
Turn to page 139, where the governor proposes a way forward. You can read it aloud.
Governor to establish a task force to look into the issues raised by all actors and forward the report with the recommendations. All actors to be involved and be part of the task force.
Who are the actors in this context?
Should be the Catholic Church, Diocese of Meru, the county, as well as the community, I want to believe.
But the report does not capture the sentiments of the Catholic Diocese.
Yes, that's left out.
Is the governor legally empowered? Or which public body is legally empowered to investigate allegations of grabbing of public land?
As far as I know, if I'm not wrong, is the National Land Commission. That's the one that deals with these issues.
So how would you describe the conduct of the governor in relation to the accusations of land grabbing against the Catholic Church?
Actually, the reason why I came as a witness is because of the abusive nature with which this was done. Not so much as who owns the land and who doesn't, because I think that doesn't rest in this petition. But I personally felt very humiliated. I felt very abused verbally. I felt my church belittled. I felt there was a possibility of civil unrest. In fact, I didn't stay until the end.
Give a few global examples. Give a few global examples of cases where religious mobilization has led to civil strife.
Sure, you nice question. I felt that now, as a Catholic and as a priest, I was put on a situation where I would be easily abused because I am part of a cartel. I am part of the stealing of county money, a county that I've been working with day and night. And I remember I woke up myself. I got to the two priests, being their chairperson. Although I wasn't there in that capacity, I was there as a member of the MIMOS, and I asked them, fathers, can we leave? And then the DCC, I think, came and told me, no, please don't leave. So by good luck, the county secretary called me because I had told him I'm going. So I picked my phone and I went to receive it, and I didn't go back. And the reason was the governor and put emotions and passion into the people on a negative perspective, that we were there trying to protect something we had stolen. And the crown would not even allow to hear from us, from me. And it reminded me of issues of terrorism that the world is dealing with. Okay. This how it starts small like that. You put one group over the other. It reminded me, I teach government and development and ethics. One of the classes I teach is the causes of genocide. I remember in Rwanda, how it starts small with a Linda saying something. It reminded me cases, experiments of Pavlov, people who tested when authority says something, what is the likelihood of many people following? It's very possible because we have a big number of people whose education is low and the literacy is low, and the hearing from Linda that this group is now classified, is dehumanized. It's okay to hurt them. So these cases all over the world help us understand the way I felt, and the reason why I felt it is important for the nation to know, as a leader, one has to have boundaries on what you say in public.
Even assuming that you've said that this is not the forum to investigate questions of land grabbing by the Catholic Church, but even assuming that the governor was right in those allegations, would the governor's conduct be excused in light of the accusations against the Catholic Church?
You know, there is also something called the sin of calumny, saying the truth where is not needed, or where to put other people at risk. That's exactly what happened. Let's assume we are thieves. We have stolen the land. Do we deserve to be put at a risk of being attacked? Would you yourself want to be put in a situation where you can be attacked, where your faith is vilified because a few are thieves? I think there's a decorum for dealing with that.
Let us turn to the Honorable Chair.
Your time is up, 20 minutes. I'll add you 3 minutes to wind up.
Okay, 3 minutes. I'm very thankful. Let us turn to the issue of the appointment of the governor's husband to the Meru Youth Service Board. You've told this honorable committee and the chair that the appointment was made on 30th of September?
Yes.
And that the incident that happened at the Meru Youth Service Center was on the 17th of October? After the appointment?
Yes, they happened after.
Had the governor's husband, prior to the meeting of 17th, visited the Meru Youth Service Center?
Sure, he did. And they came up with this idea that the land is grabbed by the diocese. So it seems he's doing very executive work, looking into the details of all that happened. While actually in the Meru Youth Service there is no position as that, and if he is appointed from a point of probably CSR, it's understandable, but then I think that was slightly outside the mandate of such a office, which in itself does not exist in law.
I think that is all for this witness, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. The attorneys for the governor, cross-examine.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Father Elias.
Evening,
I note
Counsel.
that we share
How are
name,
you?
so you're my namesake. Good
Yes.
evening. First of all, confirm that you're here in your personal capacity. You've not been sent by the church.
I am not sent by the church. I came personally, particularly because I'm a psychologist also. I
Thank you, thank you.
understand
I think
how
you
behavior.
you have answered the question. Confirm also that you're not here on behalf of the Meru Youth Service Board.
Yes, I am not on behalf of Meru Youth Service.
Let us go to your witness statement as captured under volume 5, specifically at page 16, paragraph 7. You accuse page 16, Chair, of volume 5. That's paragraph 7. You accuse the governor that soon after the elections in 2022 August, she began public incitement and vilification of rallies, in her rallies, against various leaders. And you quote them, including the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru. Is that true?
Yes.
Has the Speaker raised any complaint of being vilified by the Speaker, by the Governor?
I raise it as an interested citizen.
Has the Speaker himself raised that concern?
I don't know. I'm not in the know.
Has he sent you to represent
No.
his worries?
No.
You've also brought, rather, tagged the name of the Senator of Meru. Again, has the Senator of Meru raised any issues against the Governor? Has he sent you to represent him?
No.
You have talked of church leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Has any church leader sent you to represent him?
I'm sent myself. I'm a church leader.
You're a church leader?
Yeah.
So were you talking about yourself when you say church leaders?
I'm there, and I was with my two brother priests.
You
so,
are
yeah.
an individual. So the words here are in plural, leaders.
Okay.
Are you representing the other leaders?
I'm presenting myself.
Thank you. You've talked of Njorincheke elders being vilified. Have the Njorincheke Council of Elders complained against the governor?
Not of which I know.
Have they sent you to represent their worries?
No.
Members of National Assembly, has any member of National Assembly again raised any issue with the governor?
I don't know.
You do not know. Yet, this is your statement, and you want this committee to uphold the impeachment on grounds of information that you have no idea of.
Well, I have the idea, I've seen it, I have heard her, and I've seen her point out things about other leaders. So I have an idea. What I do not have is their mandate to represent them, or I'm not yet representing them, but I have seen it as a citizen of Meru.
Thank you.
Order, Father. He is not challenging you. He's making an intelligent understanding of the fact that in paragraph 7, You have negated everything. The only thing you have owned is not church leaders, but you as an individual. So he's wondering, should we still take this as part of your evidence since you have negated it? If you can clarify that further, we have no problem.
Well, if I stand as a church leader, it's inadmissible. Probably may not be leaders. But if what I saw and experienced with others who may not have sent me, I don't know whether I should ask a question. Can a citizen represent people who may not read what is going on? Can someone talk about it? That's what I am doing, me included, as a leader.
Thank you. Let's go to the events that took place on 17th of October 2022. You state in your statement that you were accosted by the governor's security detail. Is that still your position?
Yes. As I stood to ask the two priests whether we can leave, as I read the emotions of the group, of the crowd was going up, a number of them came between me and the governor, and I wasn't going to the governor. I was going to the priests. And they started pointing out that, yeah, you want to hit the governor, and I was like, well. So I left, I sat down, then after I got the call, I left. I realized the situation wasn't.
Have you lodged any complaint of your assault by the governor's security detail?
It's part of this. Or
have you made a formal complaint?
Where?
You actually say that it's part of this.
Yes.
I presume you're talking about the impeachment process. Did you petition the Meru County Assembly to impeach the governor on account of you being accosted by a security detail?
I only came as a witness.
Did you come as a witness at the county assembly proceedings?
No.
You did not. Did you record any statement with the county assembly of Meru?
No.
Did you file any affidavit?
This is what I only have. This.
At the county assembly proceedings, did you participate in any way?
Council, I just said no.
You just said no.
Yeah.
You have said that at paragraph 14, page 17, that the governor began inciting the crowd against the Catholic Church and the bishop of the diocese. As a result, the crowd turned rowdy, and as the governor went on a rant, falsely accusing the Catholic Church of grabbing public land. Is there anywhere in the impeachment motion that the governor is on record stating that the church has grabbed public land?
On the motion or on a video? The
videos are part of the motion, so even
yes.
On the videos?
Yes.
Has that been produced in court? I mean, in these proceedings?
I just came in.
Are you able to point us specifically to that part where the governor is calling the church leaders grabbers of public land, accusing them of cartelism, extortion, greed, corruption, and intimidation? Is there anywhere?
If I review the video I made, I can remember the whole process how it was, especially when I was talking, because she was interjecting. You couldn't give even a coherent idea. She would interject and say all these things, and there were cameras all over. So I want to believe.
So the answer is you are not able to point us specifically to that place where the governor utters those words?
On the video?
Anywhere. You are not able to do that. It's a no. You are not able to do that.
Well, if the videos provided, but the particular video carried through that time, I remember very well.
Thank you. At paragraph 20, you say that you walked out before the event ended. And
yes.
Later you learned, as confirmed from the video clips before the Senate, that the governor concluded a false rants by conducting a mock prayer.
Yes.
My question is, so the whole event was captured? Okay? That part where you're being accosted by the security detail, was it captured?
I have not seen a clip of it.
You have not seen any clip of it. So had you been accosted, we would be seeing a video of
Not
that
necessarily,
incident taking place.
depends with who recorded and not necessarily.
Let's move on to the issue of the ownership of the land where Igoji School is. It is not true that the Diocese of Meru is the owner of that property. It is not true. Is it true or not true?
First of all, Council, I would like to let you know I came as a witness
No,
to
it's a direct question, and you said the governor, rather you were actually invited to that meeting because you had prior knowledge of the facts surrounding the ownership of Igoji.
the leasing of the land.
Exactly. I'm asking you a direct question. The diocese is not the proprietor or owner of that property.
If by proprietor means trust ownership, it is.
Is it the registered owner of that property?
That's different. No.
It is not. I want you to look at page 113 of volume 2 of the governor's response. Page 13. There you will find a lease agreement. Are you able to trace that document?
So I don't have that volume.
Perhaps your counsel can assist you with that volume. 113. Yes. At the recitals clause A, can you read what the lease agreement purports to say?
That is whereas, that's A.
Yes.
The landlord is...
And the landlord here is the diocese.
Yes, it's a registered proprietor, less of all that property.
So it is not true, you've just confirmed that the diocese is the registered proprietor. So it is misleading for this lease agreement to purport that the church is the registered proprietor of this property.
The registration reads county, that's the green card.
County government.
Yeah.
So it is not.
But I would like to tell you I'm not the...
Thank you.
I'm not...
Let us go to page 146 of the same document. We do have an historical search of the property. Who is listed as the registered proprietor of that property?
It's a Meru County.
Meru County.
Yeah.
So when the governor then raises questions as to why the Meru County is paying rent of its own property, isn't she within a right to question such transactions?
Yes, but with some lack of information, background information.
Thank you very much.
Council, how many more minutes do you need? You have run out of your time.
If I have 3 minutes, Chair, I will conclude.
How many?
3 minutes.
3?
Yes. If I
Very good, very good, very good. Put your finger on your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Let's go to page 146 of page 147 rather of volume 2 still.
Sure.
Do you see the said document confirming that the title deed to that property was issued on 15th of February 1984?
I see.
To whom was the title issued?
Meru County Council.
Meru County. So when the church states that this is their property and they're entitled to rent for 60 years, isn't it a distortion of facts?
But I'm not here for the witness for the church. You are confusing me. I am not here for that.
Your own statement confirms that you are called by Father Celestio to go and attend to this matter because you had prior knowledge of the issues.
As a member of the MYS, not as a legal land owner of the diocese. So ask me things that pertain to me.
Let's talk about your membership at MYS. You are a co-opted member of the board.
According to the Act, Section 7.
And you are indeed nominated or appointed by the previous governor?
Yes.
I rested at that, to that extent.
Council, you're done?
Do you have any personal interest in this matter?
Personal interest?
Yes.
My personal interest from where I sit and stand is that I would rather see a leader who does not abuse people in public. I understand what verbal abuse, humiliation does to people. We are complaining of anxiety, depression.
Chair intervention. Chair.
Yes, Vice.
Father has been asked a different question, is answering something else. Can he answer the question from the council?
Council, can you repeat the question so that Father can respond?
The question is, do you have a personal interest in this matter?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
I have a
Thank you. It was just a yes or no. Thank you very much. The last question is the church above the law so that no one is supposed to question any acts, even where they feel that the church has committed
Again,
wrong?
Council, I am not speaking for the church.
That is all for this witness.
Thank you. My son, Boniface.
Honorable Chair, I have a few questions for the witness in the examination. I will refer the witness to Article 3 of the Constitution and Article 252 of the Constitution. He can begin with Article 3. I want him to read it aloud, Honorable Chair. You can read aloud.
Defense of this Constitution. Every person has an obligation to respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution. And then 258, which is in chapter 17, enforcement of this Constitution. Every person has the right to institute court proceedings claiming that this Constitution has been contravened or is threatened with the contravention.
Paragraph 2.
In addition to a person acting in their own interests, court proceedings under clause 1 may be instituted by a person acting on behalf of another person who cannot act in their own name, a person acting as a member of or in the interest of a group or a class of persons, a person acting in the public interest, or D, an association acting in the interest of one or more of its members.
So, from those two provisions, any person can bring proceedings to enforce the Constitution?
Yes, yes.
And that confirms, or rather, in what capacity then did you bring these proceedings?
I brought them from a personal capacity. Of course, I carry all those other identities as a priest and feelings when who I am is attacked, but I carry it as a person and a citizen who cares that there are people who may not be able to even read when something is wrong. From a community psychologist who I am, I can tell when something is wrong, and the Constitution gives me reason to say something isn't right here.
Honorable Chair, I would want this Honorable Committee and the Honorable Chair to take judicial notice of the fact that this committee sits as a high court. So when Article 258 refers to court proceedings, it would include this committee, which sits as a high court for purposes of this proceedings.
Raise your voice.
I'm saying, Honorable Chair,
judicial notice
of the fact that this Honorable Committee sits as a high court for purposes of these proceedings. So Article 258 would extend to this committee.
Honorable Chair.
Go on.
Further.
Sorry, there's a small objection there.
Honorable Chair, we wanted to find out whether that's an issue we should have an occasion to address. It's a point of law, but it's an issue of law that even goes to the jurisdiction of this committee and the scope of the work as an investigative body of the Parliament. We had desired to receive guidance from the chair whether we should canvass that as an issue. In what capacity is the members, honorable members of this committee sitting? Are they investigating, or are they here to hear a matter of a nature of a constitutional petition that should have been filed in the High Court? I think it's important we have clarity on that. Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I think it is the entire case of the governor that this is a quasi-judicial process. And they have been on record saying that many times in these proceedings. So it is, in fact, Article 258 does not relate to filing of constitutional petitions because those are provided for in Article 22 of the Constitution. So any person can bring proceedings, whether in the court or even at the assembly or even in this chamber, because for purposes of impeachment proceedings, this committee sits as a high court. And we were told in the morning that it can even summon witnesses to give evidence before this committee. So I hope that clears the air.
Thank you, Counsel. Have you finished addressing me on 258? Yes. Have you finished addressing me on 258?
Yes, I'm done with 258, Honorable Chair.
Where were you in 2010? You?
I was in class 8, Honorable Chair.
Class 8. In 2008 is when this constitution came in force. 2010. Where were you in 2005?
I was in class 3, Honorable Chair. Yes.
In 2005, when you were in class 3, I was seated at the Bomas Conference at Bomas of Kenya when we were laying the ground at the Bomas Conference that eventually progressed and gave us this constitution. Since there is a priest in the house, I'll remind you that it doesn't add any bonga points when you preach to a church choir. We were there before you were. We are the creators of Article 258. So what exactly are you looking for by referring to 258?
The point, Honorable Chair, Article 3 of the Constitution, let me begin with Article 3. It provides that any person can defend the Constitution. Any person has a right to do what, okay, not anything, but they can bring proceedings to defend the Constitution. Every person has that obligation. And it speaks to what Counsel asked in cross-examination, whether the priest is purporting to hold a brief for the CS Agriculture, for the Senator of Meru County, or for the MP Tigania East. So the response, Honorable Chair, is that the priest need not have instructions from the CS Agriculture or from the Senator. Any person aggrieved by the utterances of the governor can bring proceedings to defend the Constitution. That is what Article 3 provides. And Article 258 provides that any person acting in the public interest can bring whatever proceedings to defend the Constitution.
Chair, I think Counsel has made his point and should now proceed with his. And you can always make submissions at the close of your case on some of those things so that we make some progress, Chair.
So that the record is not hanging, this is the affidavit by the priest.
Yes.
And in this affidavit, go to paragraph 7. On page 16.
I'm there, Chair.
Yes. It is the evidence of the priest on oath that he is speaking on the issue of verification of the Catholic Church. Yes?
I think the priest is speaking to vilification of various leaders, including the Catholic Church.
Yes, I'm going specifically to the church because you are in this sitting when the priest amended paragraph 7.
Yes.
And said that the issues pertaining to other people mentioned there, Njurinjeke, Senator, MCS, and so on, it is not his evidence. That his evidence is as far as he is concerned. So, since he's speaking on the issue of the church, is it not fair that the lawyers of the governor ask him about matters before this committee pertaining to the verification of the Catholic Church? And the governor is accused, counsel, of having, in quotes, falsely accused the Catholic Church for purporting to receive rent which is not deserved. So in the process, the counsel for the governor has used these proceedings to prove that the property actually doesn't belong to the Catholic Church, and he has put annexes. So how does he run away from there, and then you help him to go and now hide in the Constitution in Article 258? Why can't he just...
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Article 3 of the Constitution.
Article?
My reference to Article 3 of the Constitution and Article 258
yes,
is in response to the general context of paragraph 7, that the governor has been going around vilifying other leaders. And this has been consistent in the cross-examination of not just this witness, but other witnesses. Perhaps maybe when we come to our closing argument, we'll be able to buttress that point, that indeed our witnesses could have made the allegations he made against the governor of vilifying other leaders without, in fact, they do not need the express permission of those leaders, because it is in defense of the Constitution, and any citizen can do that.
Can I just interject, Chair?
Yeah, I'll give you. Let me finish my flow of thought. So, counsel, if you may take your seat. Lead counsel, you will have to do your final submissions carefully, because then we have an affidavit which has evidence in paragraph 7 that has been amended by the witness, and yet the same witness has signed that affidavit. So you drive it nicely during submission. It is not a point of law.
We are guided, Chair.
Yes, yes.
We are guided, and I think the only point my colleague is trying to bring to the attention of everyone, there has been a narrative running since morning that why are you holding brief for so-and-so, and he's not complaining. And the only point my colleague was trying to make in this line of questioning is that there is no legal requirement that the persons who are vilified should complain or file a witness statement before you, because if the vilification breaches the Constitution, any person can take up that matter. It doesn't have to be the person who was vilified. In this case, the church. In this case, the senator. In this case, the CS for agriculture, or indeed any of the many people. The only point we are trying to make, Chair, is that, and you forgive us, because as these questions arise both from our adversaries and from the plenary of the Senate, for us we have a duty to ensure that especially the decision maker, which is the Honorable Committee, understands. If a question is asked that suggests that there is a legal requirement that the senator complains in person and the priest or whoever other witness cannot speak on his behalf, then we have to attempt to show that is not the law. And that's all we're doing. But I'm guided, Chair, when we get to the closing statement, I promise my team will not revisit this issue again so that it doesn't waste more time. We're already so late.
Thank you. I had my Vice Chair and Sifuna, you had issues.
See, Chair, I understand what Council is saying, but you can imagine the predicament you have put us in as a committee when this person under Article 3 says he's going to take up the cause, but when he's on the witness box, when we ask him or when questions are put, he says he cannot speak for the Catholic Church. That is the difficulty that we're in. Yeah. Because you yourself in the morning were was asking questions to the governor's team regarding some of the documents that they have produced. You were asking, were these documents available during the period of the impeachment? The questions we're asking ourselves, even as we proceed now, is all these people that are referenced in the father's affidavit are available to you. Are you telling us that you will be calling the diocese or a representative of a diocese so that those questions that council is putting on the question of the ownership of a land can be answered by a person in authority on behalf of the diocese? Because the father, when the question is put to him, he says, no, I cannot answer that on behalf of so-and-so. But that so-and-so is somebody who is available to you, including the senator for Meru, who is our colleague.
Let me tell you, County Assembly of Meru, we will not prove your case for you. But attorneys for the County Assembly of Meru, you could do slightly more. If you thought you wanted to introduce evidence, the evidence should be introduced by the most responsible person. In the Catholic Church, if the priest who you have brought, some of us are Catholics, so we are finding it very difficult. The priest who you have brought then says he's not speaking for the Catholic Church. And the governor of Embu, of Meru, never attacked this priest from the evidence. The governor attacked the church. So why didn't you look for a priest, either an administrator, the parish priest, or what, however they are arranged there, to come and confirm to this house that the governor is lying, or rather misleading the house by claiming that they don't deserve rent?
On this witness because he was present at the event in question. The reason we didn't call the bishop or any of these other people is because they were not present. But I must also point out, we were also working with the constraint we have one day. There is no way we can call 62 witnesses because I told you we have 62 specific allegations. It's just not pragmatic. We had to make certain judgment calls, and I don't think we can fairly be faulted for that. And in this case, the rule, as based on our professional training, is you call the witness who was at the event in question. That is the rationale upon which this particular witness was settled on.
Okay. So, okay, before I give you the vice chair, I'd given her a chance. Vice chair.
Let Senator come, because my question is different from what you are following up now.
Okay.
Chair, this is something the committee has been, I wouldn't say cautioning anymore, I would say encouraging you, counsel, and counsel from both sides. The witnesses here are not here to bring a new case. They are here to help you prove your case. And you run the risk of being highly disadvantaged if you do not see the essence of these witnesses in the spirit of Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act. Why am I saying this? Council, if it was the intention of the Constitution and subsequent laws that the threshold for removing a governor is absolutely confirmed at the county level, then you wouldn't be required to send this to the Senate. And the reason why I want to have this one recorded or registered in this particular committee is because the task we have is to prove the allegations beyond any reasonable doubt. It's an issue of threshold. It's not an issue of Article 258 or Article 3. So I am encouraging you again, utilize your witnesses to prove your case. To the extent that If you are making a determination as a committee, it's a determination that brings your evidence beyond reasonable doubt. And such include instances where, if, as my colleague Senator of Nairobi, Senator Sifuna had said, in some instances, if there were allegations about verification of a senior leader who had even petitioned, or rather had even registered their concerns, even to a simple place as a police station, an AOB number of reporting an issue of defamation. You see, these are hard evidence. But if you reduce this to a conversation about the opinions of the witnesses, then I really feel scared about the resulting determination going towards mere opinions other than proving the evidence. So I'm encouraging you once again, utilize your witnesses to be able to prove the evidence you have provided before this committee for the purposes of absolute threshold that merits Article 181 and Section 33 of the Counties Government Act. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Chair, now I can come. My question is to the father. Yeah, I have a question to the father. Father, do you know that
maybe I can conclude first, Chair.
Sorry, we are getting disorganized. Tobiko, why are you talking?
Chair, I wanted to pursue the line of Article 250.
I'll give you a chance once she's done. Council, why is your light on?
I wanted to continue with my examination. I conclude first, then we take the questions.
I'll give you. You'll be heard. Yes.
And my question is, do you know that the governor is the CEO of the county? And in that case, if she follows to know about that land, because she is the custodian of the properties of the county, is she following to know about the land and the details? And given what the council of the governor has just referred us to some documents that proves that the land belongs to the county, then according to that testimony, if I say that she was not wrong by coming to the church and asking or calling the church to ask about the land, she was not wrong. What is your take in this? Thank you.
Honorable, may I repeat again? I came as a witness to a conduct that is not of a public officer, captured in Chapter 6, Article 10, Article 73, 75, even further, Sections 29 and 34 of officers' ethics. So mine I am addressing, while it's related to looking at who is the owner, mine is not, it's not to prove who is or is not, because the ownership of the land does not give a CEO the right to abuse a citizen. The rightship of ownership does not give one CEO permission to classify people as cartels, as corrupt, and dismiss and treat them in a humiliating way. I don't think the Constitution gives a CEO that permission.
Yeah, but my question...
Is it okay that the council has not finished and we're starting to question the witness? Just a point of order, so that we don't...
We are okay. It is because of the way the council has driven the process. Further, which marks some respect, I'm a Catholic from Mukumu Parish in Kakamega. In 2013, the MCAs of the County Assembly of Kericho came here 4 months after the election. They wanted to remove the governor. Just like, is it 3 months now since the last election? Yeah. The MCAs also want to remove the governor of Meru. So we were in the same predicament. This is nothing new. I was there in this same chamber. And further, a decision was made that when a violation is there to cause a governor to be removed, you have as a committee to establish a nexus between that violation and the governor. Okay? So, there is an assumed violation before this committee today that the governor vilified the Catholic Church. So in the process of trying to get the nexus, we found that it is the issue of the ownership of the land. Really? Are we asking for too much when we say you help us to establish that nexus? And when we put it to you, you tell us you are not here for those reasons. You are here in your individual capacity. Father, with due respect, you should help us. If you can't, then you should divorce yourself completely, because that's the only thing that brought you here. If it was a question of personal, then you would be telling us, I went to the police station and reported the matter because my life had been threatened. The nexus is on the ownership of the property. We are going to find that the governor is culpable because she has found land owned by the church and demeaned the church by saying, you are wrong to be receiving rent. But when it is the way it is now, what grounds would we have to now find the governor culpable? So you help us. Just maintain your cool. Yeah?
Sure.
I don't know whether I've made my point.
I have, Honorable Chair.
Chair, I still want to follow up my question.
I'll give you, I want to hear the priest.
Honorable Chair, yes, the nexus ends up with the fact that the church, the land is registered under Meru County, but going by the laws upon which that land has been acquired, used, and settled, the church has been there. And that's the reason why I'm saying I came because of a certain way of dealing with that, is because I want to believe the behavior of a CEO is an important question in the Constitution, irrespective of what exactly drives that behavior. The behavior is driven by finding out that the land belongs to the Meru County and the MYS and rent and leased it. And that's why I'm saying, personally, my argument is the breach, violation of the Constitution when it comes to ethics. That's because it's part of it. Ownership of land is part of the Constitution. Behavior and the ethics of a CEO is part of the Constitution. So, Chair, I'm caught in between lumping them together, which they are related. But my summation and my thoughts and my feelings, what I felt when I was put in that situation, is not dependent on who owns the land. It's dependent on the behavior that is captured in Chapter 6, that is captured in Public Officers Act, and I want to believe those are equally laws that protect Kenyans, and as there's been presented, one can begin a process as a person feeling aggrieved. So in my mind, I have the separation of those two. That's why I feel, I say, there is the competent authority to deal with the land ownership. That's not my area. My area is the way I was treated. And I saw other Lindas treated. Honorable Chair, I was in US for 10 years, and one time I was treated badly because of my race. So probably that's the reason why I'm so sensitive to how people treat others. And then I'm back in my land, and I'm treated as a criminal right where I was working with the youth. It hurt me. It took me back to that time when police was conned on me simply because I'm black. So that's part of it, is that I feel there is a certain conduct that does not befit a CEO. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't fit that decorum.
Colleagues, some of you are feeling that the point is made, and maybe we don't want to belabor, because the evidence is now clear that the priest is not here to speak to the charge, which is vilification of the Catholic Church. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah? Pardon, Vice Chair? Yes. So he has said it's not to come here to speak to the vilification of the Catholic Church, and you heard the earlier comment by Senator Sifuna when he challenged Mr. Honorable Kiogora to show us in the video where the governor had demanded for money from the church. So I think we've gotten enough. Let us allow the priest to conclude his case. But counsel, bear with me. I'm not allowed to stop a member from speaking. I'm supposed to keep the mic. So I must give the mic to the Vice Chair and Senator Tobiko. The standing orders don't allow me to stop somebody from speaking. So, Vice Chair.
Chair, I think because he has now run away from his own affidavit, then do we discard this and take it out of the evidence that has been given to this Senate?
Very good. When we retreat for report writing, we will give this affidavit the weight that it deserves, based on the evidence that has been adduced. Yes, Senator Tobiko.
Chair, I don't know whether mine has been overtaken by events, because I was going to follow on the line that the council was following on the issue of legalities, Article 258, Chair, that, you know, we cannot shroud this process with legalities, you know, that the council should seek to prove their case with facts and run away from allowing your witnesses to drop the ball, because as you see, the direction the father has taken, the issue of the Catholic Church will now look like it will be pushed aside. The other witness we had, the lady, also ran away from the issue of forceful entry of the county assembly and went to the personal issue of what the governor had previously called women nominated MCAs. And so, I mean, if you have another witness coming, please let them stick to the case. I'm sure you must have had each witness coming to prove a certain point. I didn't want to get particularly into the issue of the father, because for the record, my respect for the men of cloth, I actually did not intend to ask questions to the priest, because he's a priest, the governor is a bishop. I would have wanted to keep off from the two, let them deal with their conscience. Council Boniface.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators, we are guided accordingly, and we will take all your sentiments into consideration. Honorable Chair, I have a few questions. I still have a few questions for the witness. I will first refer the witness, to Volume 2, which is the Governor's Index of Annexures, and specifically page 147. Are you there?
Sure.
Okay. Part B of that reads, read out Part B, that is the proprietorship section.
I'm not sure we're in the same page. Sorry.
Page 147, Honorable Chair. Yes. Part B, which shows the proprietorship section. I think you can see a date there, the 15th of February 1984.
Yes. Meru County Council.
Yes. Then there is a Meru County Council is the name of the registered proprietor. And then I think on even date there is a registration adjudication board, registration adjudication record by the clerk to the council on the same date. So there is part A of that document, Honorable Chair, which reads property section. So, Father Elias Kinoti, do you see a part written easements on that part A? Easements. Easements on part A. Restriction is on part B. Part A on the top of the document.
Yes, I've seen it.
Easement. Sorry, Council, my eyes have been growing with me. I can't read very well.
What did the young man do?
Goodness. It's on the top of the document here.
Yes, go ahead. Make your point.
Are you there, Father Elias?
Yes.
I want you to read it aloud. What does it? That the rows and the second column on easements. What does it say?
Reserved for Igoji Arambe Secondary School.
So, under Part B, the property is owned, or the proprietor rather, is Meru County Council. Yes?
Yes, it is.
But under Part 8 is specifically reserved for Igoji Arambe Secondary School.
Yes.
Okay. On to the next issue. Why do you think that the allegations against the governor?
Please. Let me guide you for the final time. If you may take your seat. You are now playing with matters of courts. In this constitution, courts are differentiated by their jurisdiction. This court where you are seated now is a quasi-judicial process that enjoys some of the powers of the High Court, some, that are only limited to what we are doing now. You are now bringing an issue of the land court, and you want a committee that I'm chairing to preside over the same. I'm just guiding you. A few minutes earlier, you brought in matters under the jurisdiction of the High Court. 258, I want you tonight to go and read 165 together with 258. We are not ignorant people. Otherwise, we would not have been allowed to sit here. So don't play around with points of law. Bring your evidence. Let us listen to it. We want to rule in your favor. Tomorrow, the governor will come with evidence. We will rule in her favor. Whoever wins the balance. Forget about points of law. All this bench you see here are lawyers of the Legal Council of Parliament, highly qualified like you. So take it easy, relax. When you now ask the priest to talk about the ownership of, who doesn't know out of common sense that all property owned by county councils are reserved for various identities? The fact that the Meru County Council reserved this property for the Harambee School doesn't mean the property is not for the county council. Another one they have reserved for a cattle dip. Another one for a dispensary. True or false? So why are you taking me around?
No, Honorable Chair.
Yes? Yeah, that's what the county governments are doing. Take it easy. We know these things, but we don't brag because we are all men. Yeah?
Chair, with your permission, at this particular stage of these proceedings, I feel that you should now restrict your benevolence in giving advice to council from the county assembly. Just specify the amount of time that they have left. Let them do with that time what they think is helpful from their own perspective, because they don't seem to be getting the directions from the chair.
So I'll give you have finished your time. If you want to use your time on points of law, go ahead. If you want to use it to give us evidence, we'll listen to the evidence. By points of law, I have got lawyers here who will tell me what the law is saying. I don't need your counsel. Please. Proceed.
I'm guided accordingly, Chair. And as you've aptly captured, Honorable Chair, I am very well aware that this is not the land court. The point that I actually wanted to bring out is that in as much as this land, the registered proprietor is the Meru County Council, the land is specifically reserved for Igoji Harambee Secondary School. That is the only point I wanted to bring out. And you remember that in cross-examination, the witness was referred to this particular document by counsel for the governor. That is the only point I wanted to raise. I did not really intend to take you in runs, Honorable Chair. But to continue with the re-examination, Father Elias Kinoti, why do you think that the allegations against the governor are gross?
Sorry, please come again, Counsel.
Why are the allegations against the governor gross?
They are gross, especially when you go to areas of leadership and integrity. Often, I think Kenyans, we think integrity is only matters money, but also matters behavior are even more serious. Matters treating other citizens, matters of humiliating and malicious calling names, classification of other people without proper evidence and conclusive processes, usurping the power of the National Lands Commission, which should be able to deal with that land well. So these are, and particularly coming from a psychology perspective, when one and as other people, leaders have been called names in public, it causes serious damages that you do not see a scar or a bandage put on. And that's why personally I felt I need to share that, because it is we are having problem with our students killing and burning each other out of examples of violence in public.
Finally, Father, what do you want this Honorable Committee to do?
I would pray that this Honorable Committee takes away this or any other leader where it comes who gives bad example, especially in terms of violence. We shouldn't be a society that never accepts violence for any reason. Otherwise, we'll keep beating our wives, borrowing from our CEO who will beat a group of people because has found a land that has a different registration and a different user. someone will call people names and they can go scot-free. I would love to see a society in which an organ of this magnitude gives us a clear indication that violence is not acceptable. Humiliation of people in public is not acceptable. Vilification and calling people names is not acceptable. I hope we can get to that point. And I believe, and that's why I came to this very important committee, honorable members, because I felt it is fair to share my thoughts.
That is all for this witness, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Council. You may take your seat. Priest, you are still there. Your time is not yet done. Members, do you have anything to raise with the priest? Yes, Esther?
Thank you, Chair. And going by your earlier statement, maybe I would leave out the first question I wanted to ask on whether we are now dealing with the issue of, because from the issues that were raised, it was showing that the governor vilified your faith, and therefore a breach of faith and morality. So there comes a question, should the governor be impeached for breach of faith or morality? So I'm ignoring that, but for the cases of this going to record, I thought I should mention. So further, my question is, as a Christian and citizen of Kenya, which you have stated, are you aware that Article 159 of the Constitution of Kenya recognizes alternative dispute resolution as a dispute resolution mechanism? Have you made any prompt attempt to settle the matter through alternative dispute resolution?
I haven't. And when I heard about this, I thought it's part of the constitutional possibilities in addressing the same problem, in addition to the possibility of NDT.
Yes, Chair, I'm done.
Thank you, Chair. I must say that I feel like my church is on trial. I'm a Catholic too, but I would want to hear from Father Kinoti, because in the doctrine of the Catholic Church, we seek justice, not vengeance. If this committee was to find the governor guilty of some of these allegations, would you recommend to this committee to exercise forgiveness?
Honorable member, I want to believe this sitting is sitting based on the law of the land. And I don't remember any part of the Constitution that has forgiveness. Not because forgiveness is not practiced by Christians or done. And forgiveness comes through the process of one, identifying truth, justice, and then fulfilling the damages done. And then and only then does forgiveness make sense. So this process, once it's able to find the truth justly and make its legal pronouncements, there are very many areas of forgiveness. I tend to think I want to believe. I haven't found anywhere in the Constitution where it says once the Senate finds someone guilty, it's free to forgive. Forgiveness is in another forum, Christian forum. This is a process of justice. It is a process of trying to satisfy damages done. Like you conclude the governor is not guilty. Am I free? Is she free for us to go and say, you know, that day you talked and I felt bad and it's time for us to forgive each other. That's not in the Constitution, but it is a Christian obligation. And I think it's fair to separate those things and see them in their proper place. A Senate is set not to satisfy the Bible requirement, but the constitutional requirement. That's where I think I might be wrong.
I think, Chair, that's all. But the priest talked about the sin of, I think, calumny, destruction, I think.
It's calumny.
Calumny, yes. Whereby somebody reveals the hidden faults of another without sufficient cause. Would we say the same is happening to the governor?
Honorable member, it's someone reviews hidden secrets of someone that need not to be revealed. That's a calumny.
Okay.
So the conduct of the CEO of Meru are not hidden. That's why we have plenty of videos showing her speak and sending venom into community. So it's not hidden.
So you said that referring to yourself. So that means they are hidden to you.
That which is on video and public, it's hidden to me. It's not hidden to me, and it's not hidden to the public.
That's all, Chair.
Father, I'm also going to disclose, I'm sure you know that I'm also Catholic. I am curious to understand, in my thinking, the character of a person is something that is developed over a long period of time. You've been a resident of Meru for how many years?
For 50 years.
50 years. These things that the governor is accused of, your governor was a former women rep of Meru. Would you say that when the people of Meru went to the ballot on the 9th to make her governor, they knew who she was?
Perfectly no.
Yeah?
Perfectly no. You can't know someone perfectly.
They
but
didn't
they under a view of what type of a person she is. She's a politician.
In her time as your women rep, was she ever accused of the sort of disrespect, humiliation of leaders, and all these other things? Did these matters ever come up during her term as women rep of Meru?
In matters of political exchange, there was always a lot of discomfort between her and other leaders. She has this Baita TV where she really does presentations of things, and it vilifies other people.
So this, even if they were true, these are not new things that the governor has developed in her character. This is who the people of Meru elected. They knew when they went to the ballot that this is who Kawira Mwangaza is, and they voted